like to play the my show, my rules game here because it really isn't mine. It belongs to us collectively as we gather round our radios or our smart speakers every day. You know, that's a weird thing to say. And it's a weird thing for me to say because it'll tie into the song that we just played to start the show. My show, my rules. Gathering around your smart speaker. There was a time in my radio life that I wouldn't even have known what a smart speaker was. When I started in this crazy racket, the internet was just becoming a thing, and we were all terrified that the internet was going to kill the radio star. And here we are, still kicking in early 2026. Anyway, last week on the show, our All Request Friday theme, because we were on the cusp of Valentine's Day, was love songs by Black artists, because we continue to celebrate Black History Month here on the show this month. And I chose a song that I had the privilege of hearing performed live on a radio station I used to work at a long time ago, but not too far away. And it was Divine Brown's Old School Love. I'll never forget. I really will not ever forget the moment that she sang that live on the radio station I was working at, because her voice was absolutely incredible. This week, I fondly remember that very first radio station I got a full-time job at. Yes, somewhere in the shoe swap area of British Columbia, a really poorly informed program director decided, you know what would be a good idea? It would be a good idea if we hired this recent graduate from Kitchener to come out here and work the night shift on our radio station. And that's what they did. And so I packed my bags and hopped on a jet plane, and off I went to Salmon Arm, British Columbia, to work at a radio station, CKXR. We called it the network because we had repeater stations and network stations in Revelstoke, Invermere, and Golden, British Columbia, as well as an FM repeater out in Sorrento, as I recall now. Anyway, these are all towns that you may or may not know the names of, but that's where I worked. And Amanda Marshall's Dark Horse was a big song in my first year out there. And I thought, if I get the chance, like my show, my rules, right? So I thought I'd play some Amanda Marshall to start our All Request Friday this week as we celebrate Canada at the Olympics and we play music from Canadian Black artists. And I know what you're thinking. Amanda Marshall? Really? Well, she was born to a Trinidadian mother and a white father from Canada. And she has often reflected in her own music that she's a woman who looks white but is actually black. So I may bend the rules a tiny bit, and I get to play the song I want to start the show today, because that's what comes, I guess, with being granted the privilege of having a show with your name on it. Hey, good Friday morning. By the way, if you want to get in on the All Request Friday, you've got a favorite Black Canadian artist whose song you would like to hear a little bit of, well, by gall darn it, just take the opportunity to ask us to play it, and we'll do that. Just send me an email, mike@570news.com, or give a call to Dev and let them know the song that you would like to hear, and we'll make sure we add it to our list of all request songs on this Friday, something we do for fun each and every Friday. Thanks very much for stopping by, spending some of your time with us. I know it's probably divided time today. You're counting down the minutes now. Really, we're just, it'll be about 90 minutes away, a little more than 90 minutes away from the start of that hockey game, the big hockey game, the men's hockey game at the Olympics, Canada taking on Finland. You want to talk about being divided on this one. I mean, how about the Finnish head coach of the Kitchener Rangers, who, don't tell him I said this, but I like this guy an awful lot. For reasons even going beyond the personal, I just like the way he carries himself. I like his philosophies on hockey and on life. I like this guy, as simple as that. And so, I want to see him have some joy in his day. But, I mean, come on. I'm cheering for Canada over Finland, and I hope it doesn't ruin the weekend, no matter which way this game goes, right? Because the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers and I will be spending considerable time together as we take another road trip across the border. And UC Hocus will join us on the show this morning at 10:30, just before the big hockey game starts at the Olympics for the weekly coaches show. But I know you're counting down that, and you've got other things going on in your life. I saw this really cool thing, actually. Social media came through in a big way today. I can't remember where, but sometimes when I'm doing things, it comes across my feed, and I saw this high-level view of a very busy intersection. Let's just pretend it's Manhattan, because it was that busy, right? All these people, and as all these people were walking around, they all had little captions attached to them, like turning 40 today, just lost a pet, in a custody battle. And it was just a little reminder that each of us is carrying something with us each and every day, a good reminder for us to approach the people we meet with as much kindness as we can muster. And maybe if we can't muster the kindness, we'll just soften our approach entirely and not make their day worse, right? But we're all carrying stuff. We're all busy, and you're here for this show, and it really does mean a lot. I want to make sure, I've already taken an extra 5 minutes. Christine Clark and I were chatting just before 9 o'clock, and I said, there's a very special announcement I want to make to start the show today. And she said, that's only 5 minutes away. And now I've dragged it into 10. I talk a lot. I want to just wish a very incredibly happy birthday this weekend to our good buddy, Farwell's Force member number 45, Preston Paul. Preston Paul is one of my favorites on the show. I don't mean to play favorites, but what I love about Preston Paul is he found us here at this station when the music station he listened to right here in the region changed hosts, and he didn't like the change that they made, and he thought, I'm done with this station. I'm going to find another one, and boom, he found us. Most talk radio listeners, most, not all, but most, are former rock radio listeners, and that's Preston Paul, and he has found his way to us, and this beautiful son of a gun turns 65. The big 6'5". Can you get your seniors discount now, Paul? I think you start getting some of those at 55, don't you? Anyway, Preston Paul turns 65 on Sunday, and I want to wish him a very happy birthday 48 hours from now. Speaking of which, hey, Pops, can you hear me from the part of the world that you are vacationing in right now? I doubt it. My Pops turns 80 today. Is it okay for me to say that? My father turns the big 80, and he's marking the milestone on a lovely vacation in a place that I would really like to visit someday. He's in Hawaii. I can tell you that. What a lucky guy, eh? He's probably hanging out with Tom Selleck and the rest of the crew from Magnum PI. Anyway, Pops is 80 today. Preston Paul turns 65 on Sunday, and we have got a show for you. Your Not $1 Million question is coming up before 9:15. We'll have a little fun trying to answer that. It's an all request Friday, and lots more still to come on the show. A couple of things to touch on before we get to your Farwell Show 5 this morning. One is I was listening to All News Mornings today, as I'm sure you were too, with Christine Clark and Mark Douglas, and our reporter Justin Kohler was talking about the financial challenges, the financial pressures being faced by a family-owned business, which has locations right here in our region, due to the changes to recycling here in Ontario, more onus being placed on the producer of the recyclable material. And so Teppermans is saying, listen, we like to reach people by delivering flyers in the mail, and now the pressures that are associated with that in terms of the recycling costs are getting pretty onerous, and they're getting onerous very quickly. Teppermans, I hear you, I feel you, and I've got just unsolicited, I know, but I'm always here to offer my thoughts on things, okay? You know what you could do? Instead of putting those flyers in mailboxes, right? You could just buy radio advertising. I know you already do. How about some more, baby? I'm telling you, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, and we'll reach some ears, maybe as many ears as eyes you reach when you put those things in people's mailboxes. Just a thought from the guy that hosts a radio show. I am being biased and selfish in this, but I promise you, Teppermans, people will remember your name when they hear it on this radio station. Yesterday, just as the show was ending, we shared with you some news that caught me by surprise, and I was quite intrigued by it. Our regional government will declare, and the I's will be dotted and the T's will be crossed sometime in mid-March. But the former bus terminal on Charles Street in downtown Kitchener is going to be declared surplus land. And that, to me, is a rather exciting proposition because really, since the buses left the terminal, quite literally, it's just a bunch of wasted space. It's like a big, asphalt pad with a concrete building standing there, a structure of some sort. But it's a pretty big piece of real estate in a prime area of downtown Kitchener, right on the Ion light rail line. There is tremendous opportunity here for us as a region to, I think, imagine or even reimagine downtown Kitchener to some degree. I mean, if you think about it, and this is what I've been doing since I learned this yesterday. So once the land gets declared surplus, there will be, I'm sure, tenders put out looking for requests for proposal to develop this land into something. And what that something is becomes very intriguing to me. If you can think along with me here in your mind's eye, I'm thinking about Charles Street in downtown Kitchener from Victoria all the way down to the old bus terminal. I know that's a long way, but there's not a whole lot there. So you've got the tannery, which is home to Communitech and so much more. Fantastic reuse of an old building in downtown Kitchener. So that's Charles and Victoria, right? Then you come past that, you're just crossing Francis Street, and what have you got? You got a big, empty parking lot, right? So then you come through that parking lot, and now you're on to Water Street. You're crossing Water Street, and what are you running into? You're running into the old King Center Mall, which I believe is still owned by Manulife, but their employees aren't there anymore. Their employees are working out of a building in Waterloo. So basically what you have is an old shopping mall, right? One of the old anchor shopping malls in downtown Kitchener, Market Square, King Center. That was going to save downtown Kitchener. That did not work at all. So you've got, from the tannery, a parking lot, an old shopping mall, and then beside that old shopping mall, as you continue down towards the bus terminal and Gaukel Street, you've got the old post office. And I can't help but wonder if it wouldn't be possible to reimagine that entire stretch of downtown Kitchener from Charles and Francis to Charles and Ontario, which would be the other end of the bus terminal. What could possibly go across that entire area? Yes, I'm talking about getting rid of an old post office. And I guess what's really in that block, as opposed to the mall, is a parking garage, which could stay to support something like, I don't know, how about a big brand new sports and entertainment facility? There's long been talk in this community about our lack of convention and conference space, right? Why wouldn't we use this opportunity with now surplus land on several blocks of downtown Kitchener that I think have almost unlimited potential? And why wouldn't we start thinking about big, bold projects like that? We are a community of 700,000 people. Just think back to 1951. And I love the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium as much as anybody loves the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. But when that was built 75 years ago, what was our population then? And what is our population today? To give you an idea, our population then was about 1/10 of what it is today. So now that we are 10 times the size, why would we expect that the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium in and of itself would be a grand enough venue for all the sports, all the entertainment, all the conferences, etc.? We should keep the odd, as far as I'm concerned. But what else could be imagined? What else could we envision on that long stretch of Charles Street from Ontario all the way down to Francis now that the former bus terminal is being declared surplus. I think we've got a lot of potential here. And the question becomes, how bold do we want to be?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9.
All right, to your Farwell Show 5 this Friday morning. Number one, there is concern for the well-being of a missing man in Cambridge. 84-year-old Maxime was last seen in the Henry Street area of Cambridge. That's South Galt. Police described the senior as 5'4" with an average build, short buzz-cut hair, a gray goatee, and he was wearing black-rimmed glasses, an olive-green Gilligan hat with straps and a pin on the front, a black faux leather jacket, a white dress shirt, and pants that sit well above his gray winter boots. People in the Henry Street area of Cambridge are being asked to search their properties, including sheds and under decks, as well as to review any CCTV footage from yesterday at noon. Number two, Sidney Crosby's status remains uncertain for today's semi-final men's hockey game in Milan. Team Canada faces Finland in a game that starts at 10:40 this morning. The winner will play either the U.S. or Slovakia for the gold. In a women's curling semi-final underway right now, Team Canada is tied with Sweden 2-2 in the fifth end. We will also keep you up to date on that hockey score during the show today. Number three on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Ottawa has updated its travel advice for the United States. The federal government website is now urging First Nations people to carry a passport in addition to a status card when crossing the border. It says acceptance of all status cards is at the discretion of U.S. officials. Number four, police are searching the former home of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The former prince was held in custody yesterday on suspicion of misconduct in public office linked to his friendship with the late convicted sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein. And number five on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, a Mennonite church in Baden will provide the backdrop for a weekend screening of an award-winning film from the Cannes World Film Festival. Walking Through the Fire, the visual album, will screen at Shantz Mennonite Church tomorrow night at 7. It's described as a musical film experience like no other.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!
All right, we'll shake off the booze and get to your not $1 million question for this Friday morning. Something we just do for a little bit of fun. We can't give you $1 million if you get the answer right. However, we will think for at least the rest of the day and maybe even the entire weekend that you are the smartest person alive. Your not $1 million question this morning is this. You probably did this when you were a kid, but almost 25% of adults say they still sometimes do this. What is it? What is it that 25% of adults say they still sometimes do that they also did when they were a kid? Do you think you know the answer? 1 in 4 of us are still doing this sometimes as adults. What is it? 519-570-2545, star 570, 1-800-570-5715. We'll start taking guesses to the not $1 million question answer coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
You used to call me on my. You used to. Yeah. You used to call me on my cell phone. Late night when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone. Late night when you need my love. And I know when that hotline blink, that can only mean one thing.
I mean, you knew Drake was going to make it today, didn't you? And he makes it early on. Our All Request Friday featuring Black Canadian artists. Cindy wanted to hear some Hotline bling. And so Cindy gets to hear what she wants because it's an all-request Friday here on the show. We also play the not $1 million question on the show every Friday. Today's question is, most of us probably did this when we were kids, but 1 in 4 of us sometimes still do it as adults. What is that thing that 1 in 4 of us are sometimes still doing as adults? George, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mike. I think I know this one because I still kind of do it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Here it is. Well, most of us collected baseball and sports cards, hockey cards. I think that's the answer.
George, that's a great guess. It's not the answer we're looking for, but a great guess. You see, I had a guess too. It's something that I'm definitely still doing as an adult. Mine wasn't right either, but I'll share that with you coming up. We'll take more guesses first. Laura, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
What do you think the answer is?
Sleep with a light on.
Sleep with a light on. Very interesting. Not the answer we're looking for, but good guess.
Oh, I thought for sure it would be.
You're
All
on the right
thanks,
track.
Mike.
Thanks, Laura.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Laura definitely sent us down the right path here. Let's hear what Tony's guess is to the not $1 million question. Morning, Tony. Tony? Where did Tony go? My buddy Tony bailed on me. Okay, fine. We'll go to Brad instead. Hey, Brad, good morning.
Hey, I'm going to go on a limb here.
Okay.
And you tell me if it's snot. I'm going to say pick your nose.
You know what? I thought that same thing. Because let's be honest, Brad. How many times have you been sitting at a red light, you glance over to your right, and there's somebody like digging for gold, right?
That's why I have tinted windows. No, okay, obviously, I'm not right.
You're not, but I love it, Brad. I love it. Thanks very much for the guess. That one did cross my mind. I will not tell a lie. John, what do you think the answer is to the not $1 million question?
Well, I've got a guess for it, Mike, but one thing first, I need a number from you for your group.
You can absolutely be a member of Farwell's force. The next number I have available for you, John, is number 325. How do you feel about that?
325 is perfect.
All right.
We'll go with Durham John.
Durham John. As in, like, town of?
Town of.
Oh, my gosh. I love me some Durham. I get up there on the bike all the time. Way to go.
Actually, we'll have to go for a ride someday.
I look forward to that.
So, my guess, jumping in a mud puddle.
Who wouldn't want to jump in a mud puddle, eh?
I still do it.
I still do, too, but not the answer we're looking for. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Mike.
All right. Durham John, not the region of. Who cares about the region? How about the little town of Durham? Beautiful Wellington County. Well, it looks like Tony's back, so we're going to quickly take his guess. Hey, Tony.
Hey, Tony. Sorry about that, Mike.
That's all right, bud.
I'm going to take a guess and say Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh, Tony, another great guess. Ties into mine. Also not the answer we're looking for. I'll let you know. Mine was eat like kids' cereals. There's still a box of Lucky Charms in our pantry at home, which I enjoy frequently. Not the answer we're looking for. Laura was onto something when she said sleep with a light on. We'll take more guesses after 9:45 this morning, okay? 25% of adults still do this. We probably did it as a kid. What is it that we sometimes still do as adults that we did as a kid? More guesses after 9:45 on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is a song called The Key. It is sung by Errol Starr, and Diane wanted to hear that on this All Request Friday, celebrating Black Canadian artists, Canadian, because we're all pulling for Team Canada at the Olympics, of course, and we're celebrating Black History Month, hence Black artists on our All Request Friday. this week. Well, speaking of the Olympics, how about former Olympian in studio with us this morning, a boxing champ from Kitchener, Mandy Boujol joins us. Good morning.
Good morning. Great transition there.
It worked pretty well. I mean, I've got the Olympics on the TV. I've got an Olympian in studio. This is fantastic. And along with Mandy comes Jennifer Appleby Vines. She is the CEO of Georgette Packaging. And I think for the time being, I can officially call you a boxer, a pugilist yourself,
boxer
yes?
in training. Let's go with that.
A boxer in training. Champs for Charity is what we're here to talk about. Mandy, it's your baby, so to speak, and I know, Jen, you're competing, but let's start, Mandy, on your side of this. How did it all get started? Why did you begin this fundraiser?
So I started this in about 2019 when I was trying to find a way for me to blend my love for giving back to the community and boxing. And that's how Champions for Charity kind of came to be. And so basically what we do is we get business professionals in the region who know nothing about boxing. We train them for about 15, 16 weeks, and then they fight each other in this black tie Vegas-style fight night. And it's all for children's charities. So it's been really fun. I think the first year was interesting because I had to kind of convince people that it was a good idea. And then really quickly it started to catch on. And now there's just so much buzz around the event. We've raised over $1 million. We're already at about, $650,000 for this year alone raised. So it's incredible to see the impact that we're making, but also just the lives that we're changing and the really cool experiences that we're able to provide the boxers like Jennifer.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal success from a fundraising standpoint, no question. And logistically, Mandy, one of the things that I know you began doing because the on-site event sold out, you can stream this now too, and people can have like a little pay-per-view associated with it, right?
Yeah, so we have like a 5-camera crew, a full pay-per-view production that happens on the night of. And again, we sell out so quickly. It's within minutes. So it's a really cool way for people to be able to watch. Actually, downtown Kitchener, Bobby O'Brien's is doing their own watch party as well. So we keep it super simple. It's $25 donation to get the live stream link, whether you want to kind of have some friends over and watch it from home, or if you want to join a crew at Bobby O'Brien's.
Love that. Okay, so Jen, it's not lost on me what Mandy said when, they approach these business professionals and say, hey, let's get into the ring and box. It's a little bit counterintuitive, I'm sure. I know we're getting more accustomed to it, but what's the CEO of Georgette Packaging doing wearing boxing gloves and throwing punches?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes I wonder myself. I think for me, I sort of knew tangentially a couple of people who had done it, and it kind of interested me. I'd always liked boxing as a fitness thing that I did, just box fit classes. I'd never been punched or anything like that. But I kind of looked at it and I like a challenge. So I just kind of talked to some of the people I knew who had done it. And they all talked really highly of the whole program and how, it tests you and you kind of, you kind of learn your limits and you will be challenged like you've never been challenged before. And I was kind of like, okay, maybe. And just the idea of like being able to do something that challenges me and also being able to give back to the community at the same time. I turned 50 a few years ago, and for me, that was a bit of a, call it a midlife crisis, call it, a reset, whatever you want. I really started taking my fitness more seriously and kind of wanting to prove to myself and to other people that just because you're getting older doesn't mean you can't be better and keep challenging yourself. And so that was the impetus for me. But then, again, being able to give back and do something really awesome for McMaster Children's Hospital and Waterloo Region Health Network has been part of that as well. And then just learning people's stories, like people on my team who have children who go to McMaster Children's Hospital regularly for services. And it just drives you even more to do that. So
I got to say, the promo shot, whatever we want to call it, that they have a view on Champs for Charity that we've shared on my Instagram too, Farwell_WR. Phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Like you're in mid-punch there and, as you're sparring and training for this. But you talked, Jen, about the challenge. Mm-hmm. And I'm curious as to what that challenge is like for you as somebody who had already sort of dedicated or rededicated themselves to fitness. Boxing is a whole different animal here.
Absolutely.
What's that challenge been like?
I've sort of likened it what I would imagine, and I'm probably people actually in the military might laugh at me, but I would imagine it's like what being in the military is like in terms of like you're in this training, you're in this, and the coaches are, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not treating us badly, but they're yelling at you to keep going, keep going, keep going. they're pushing you past a point you would ever push yourself. And I think I've come to a point in my life where I push myself pretty hard. If I'm in a strength training class, I'm usually the one lifting the heavy weights. But this is far more than I would ever push myself. And you can't stop because your whole team, it's a very team-oriented atmosphere. And so your whole team is going. And so you just, this morning I was telling Mandy, we were doing planks, and then we thought it was 1 minute plank. It turned into 2.5 minute planks with weight plates on our back. And I'm like, I really want to stop, but I can't stop because I'm not going to be the first one to stop on my team, right? So it's just that, it's a mental challenge more than anything. Yes, it's physical, of course, and you're getting stronger every day because you're training 4 or 5 times a week. But it's a mental, I can do this. I can keep going rather than, when is this over? Yeah.
Mandy, I remember from our conversations over the years as you prepared for and competed in Olympics, etc., the amount of training that goes into that. These business professionals get 15 to 16 weeks. What sorts of stepping stones or what sorts of, events are you putting them through to be ready for that big event at Champions for Charity?
Yeah, we do honestly a full mix of things. So there's 3 boxing sessions that they do every week. We also do a strength and conditioning session once a week here at the Armory. And then we also bring in other professionals to talk to them about nutrition, to talk to them about the mental performance piece. Because as Jen alluded to, it is very much mental. And I think the really cool piece about this is that they get to walk in on day one as one person. And at the very end of this, they are so strong mentally that I think they can carry that into other aspects of their life. And I think that that's always, to me, the really cool piece, that it takes a lot of courage to step into a boxing ring and to do that in front of a crowd and people after 16 weeks of training. It is a big ask and you're stepping outside your comfort zone. But I think the pride of being able to do that, and after you step out and you feel so accomplished, honestly, there's a winner and a loser that night, but every single person that steps into that ring is a winner, and it's just amazing to see the impact that they can make. I'm just so proud. When I watch them, I'm just having 20 children, and I'm just watching them grow throughout this process. It's really fun.
I love it. Now, Jen, I don't want to make you any more nervous than you may already be, but I think about this, right? And it was Mike Tyson who famously said, right, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. On Friday, April the 24th, you will not only be punching, but you will be punched.
There is somebody out there who is going to try and punch me. Yes,
correct.
Absolutely.
So how do you feel about that?
I'm still grappling with it.
Yeah.
We just started sparring 2 weeks ago, so we've got headgear and all of that. So, there's some protection there, but there's definitely been a few times where I've been punched. I got punched in the face the other day, and we're not going full power,
sure.
But I got it on the nose. I heard a little crunch, and I'm fine, but I was just okay. But you know what? I've really learned about myself that it just fuels me to come back. Part of me is just oh yeah, and I, and then I want to come back, right? So, but it's like I said, I've done box fit stuff before, but the idea of somebody actually trying to punch you in the face, probably cliche, but as a woman, I've never been punched, so it's a whole different mindset of just it's okay, that's going to happen. And even this morning, I was thinking when I get punched, part of me does that, but part of me beats myself up in terms of I shouldn't have let that happen. But just kind of getting around the fact you're going to get punched, you're going to get hit, it's boxing, and just so resetting, moving on, right? Again, back to the mental thing. So
I love that part though about you're not supposed to that wasn't supposed to happen. You're not supposed to get punched because yes, we think about boxing in that way, right? It's all about punching the other person. Defense is a huge part of this, and I'm sure you're learning that, right?
Oh, it's the hardest part.
Absolutely.
Anticipating what that other person's going to do and responding properly and not just being don't hit me. Yeah, it's the hardest part, honestly.
Mandy, I mentioned Friday, April the 24th, so a couple of months away yet, but how can people support Champions for Charity and help continue to grow that $650,000 you've already raised?
Yeah, so one thing that we can actually do is our 50-50. So champs5050.ca, you can get yourself some 50-50 tickets.
I'm in already.
Right?
Great.
That'll contribute. You can actually go to our fundraising pages and you can support boxers like Jennifer and kind of help them reach their own personal goal, because everyone has their own personal goal leading up to this. And then if you want to watch, you can head to our website and look for that live stream link.
Fantastic. The website is champsforcharity.ca. That 50-50, champs5050.ca as well. Okay. and Jen, your personal fundraising goal and how we might be able to find you and support that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on the Champs page, and you can look me up there. My personal goal was $10,000, which I thought was a stretch. Like, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to reach that. But I already reached that a few weeks ago. I'm at 10,410.
Wow.
So I was so excited to be able to, I really didn't know if I was going to be able to do that. It just motivates me to, like I said, hearing people's stories and, whether it's supporting McMaster through our fundraising or supporting the local hospitals through 50/50 and the live stream. It's all really important. So, yeah, really hope people just support us.
Do you know yet who you're going to be getting?
Do.
You do?
Yes.
Do you train with them?
No.
Okay, so Team Blue and Team Red are never the twain shall meet. Yeah, okay.
100%. No. There's a lot of anxiety, actually, because we're doing a joint fundraiser at Four Quarter Butcher Shop, and we're going to be doing it together. And it's like the first time we're going to be meeting together.
Okay, wait. Because I saw Colby post something.
Yeah.
But wait, are you going to eat smash burgers?
We're going to be serving them and cooking them stuff.
Because Mandy, you can't let her have smash burgers while she's training. I know what this.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be drinking raw eggs or something. I learned everything from Rocky.
All the protein.
All the protein. Aren't too bad.
That's true.
Too bad. Actually, one of our former champs, Nick Benninger, is our chef on the grill, and last year I think he served up 400 smash burgers. So we're trying to beat that record this year.
That's
so
awesome. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Okay, champsforcharity.ca is the website. Again, remember that 50/50, champs5050.ca. This is your number 4, right, Mandy?
This is 4th year, yeah.
4th year of doing this. Incredible work, really. Kudos across the board. And Jen, you're just proving that you've got way more courage than I do. I can't imagine being in your
courage
your
or
shoes.
stupidity. I don't know. It's one of the two. It's a mix of both.
I'm going courage, but good on you. Thanks both for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We got to go back to our not $1 million question, by the way. Mandy was guessing earlier, same as I was. It's eating kids' cereals, right? Do you have any Lucky Charms in your cupboard? Well, you have kids.
I've got Fruit Loops.
Okay.
But I've got 2 kids.
Yeah. So you have an excuse. I have a dog. She doesn't get to eat the Lucky Charms that I have in the pantry. And Jen, you were thinking sucking your thumb.
Thumb sucking.
Yeah, not the answer. So 25% of adults are still doing this sometimes, but we used to do it as kids. What is that thing? We'll take more guesses to our not $1 million question right after this. Let us know what you think the answer is. You're still doing it as an adult? You used to do it as a kid? This is the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
You ask me if I love you, and I choke on my reply. I'd rather hurt you honestly than mislead you with a lie. And who am I to judge you on what you say or do? I'm only just beginning to see the real you. And sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much, and I have to close my eyes and hide.
That is Dan Hill and Sometimes When We Touch on this All Request Friday, celebrating Canada and Black Canadian musicians. That one by request for Mike and Maureen on your All Request Friday. Dan's brother, pretty talented as well. Lawrence Hill, the novelist who wrote Book of Negroes, one of my all-time favorite reads. I picked that one up because it was a one book, one community selection that we did in coordination with our Kitchener Public Library many, many years ago, and I absolutely loved it. Dan Hill, though, the singer, not the writer. Sometimes When We Touch, All Request Friday. Something else we do on Fridays, the not $1 million question. 25% of us, as adults, sometimes still do this thing that we very likely did as kids. What is that thing? Jennifer Appleby Vines, who was in here a moment ago, the CEO of Georgette Packaging, competing in Champs for Charity, thought it was thumb sucking, not the answer we're looking for. Mandy Bujold, the champ herself, thought it was eating kids' cereals. That's what I still do, and that was my guess too, but not the answer we're looking for. Francis, what do you think it is?
Well, after all this time, Mike, I actually thought of 2 different things.
All right, I'll let you have 2 guesses.
Lick out the dish after you're done with it.
Lick out the... No, we're not acting like dogs. We're acting like kids, Francis.
Yeah, but we were short of water for most of us, so we had to clean the dishes out.
Okay, all right. Not the answer we're looking for. What's your second one?
Pick my nose.
Francis, that one came up earlier too, and not the answer we're looking for. But that one did cross my mind. It really did. Rob, what about you? Do you think you know the answer to our not $1 million question? Rob? I bet you Rob thought it was pick your nose. That's fine. How about Brenda? Brenda, good morning.
Good morning. Is it biting your nails?
It is not biting your nails. A very good guess, but not the answer we're looking for. I confess that's one of my bad habits. I know how bad it is. I know what's lying beneath those fingernails, and I still do it, but not. I bet you that's, you know what, Brenda? Gets me thinking, just like eating the kids' cereals, I'll bet you more than 25% of us are still doing that. Laura, is this the same Laura that guessed before?
Same Laura, Mike.
Okay, all right. What do you think?
Okay.
You got us on the right path, I think.
Before I give you my next guess,
Yes.
I need one of your Farwell Force numbers.
Okay.
Now, I would like number 406 if it's available.
Let me see here. 406 is... Yeah, sorry, because when I go out of order, I have to be careful. 406 is available, and it's yours, Laura.
Perfect. And am I able to get a number for my husband? He asked me if I would ask you.
Well, does your husband listen for 15 minutes every day?
Oh, more than that.
Well, then hell yes, you can.
Okay. He would like number 1701.
Oh, my gosh. I know that one's still available. All you muckety mucks that mess up my list here. 1701. What's hubby's name, Laura?
Willie.
Willie.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. 1701 for Willie.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
yes.
My guess is we still either sleep with a stuffy or a blanket, a special blanket.
Laura, I knew when I saw your name on my screen again that you were going to get it right, because before you said sleep with a light on.
Woohoo!
And I said, that's right. You put us on the right path and you nailed it. Sleep with a stuffed animal.
Wow. I'm surprised, but I thought, what the heck? It's worth a try.
Well, I'm a little surprised too, and if I'm being honest, is it a wee bit weird?
Well, I don't know. As I said to Willie before I called, I said, what if you're single, and what if you've just always had your stuffy with you and it sits on your bed and you've just never given it up? It's like, even if you're not really sleeping with it, it's on your bed, you're going to sleep with it.
Yeah, you know what? That's a fair point. And there's something to that sense of security and calm that it always brought, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Laura, you are the smartest person alive.
Ooh, wow, that's an accomplishment today.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Mike.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Laura, one of our newest Farwell's Force members, coming in with number 406. Laura's Willie, her hubby. Number 1701, Farwell's Force continues to grow. It's a force for good. It's a force for change. It's a force to be reckoned with. And we will put your name on that list as long as you listen for 15 minutes a day. Whatever 15 minutes you want, you can certainly be like Willie and listen for even more than 15 minutes. God love you for that. 15 minutes a day is all it takes to be a member in good standing of Farwell's Force. Not only did Laura just join the force officially, but she's the smartest person alive. She knew the answer to our not $1 million question. 1 in 4 adults sometimes still sleep with a stuffed animal, much like they did when they were kids. Got an update for you coming from the 570 News Center. And then Black History Month continues, and we celebrate that history in Cambridge this weekend. We'll tell you how on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I know you've been hurt by someone else. I could tell by the way you carry yourself. If you let me, here's what I'll do. I'll take care of you. I've loved and I've lost.
Is it Drake featuring Rihanna or Rihanna featuring Drake? There he comes into the picture. Take Care by request from Andre on this All Request Friday, celebrating Black artists who are Canadian, a la Drake. And it's Canadian artists because we are cheering on Team Canada at the Olympics, our women curlers in the seventh end semifinal versus Sweden, trailing 4-2. But we do have the hammer in this seventh end. And yes, just over 30 minutes from now, Team Canada's men's hockey team will take the ice against Finland for the right to go to the gold medal game. It's a big one coming up. It's also a big weekend in the city of Cambridge because Rhythm and Blues Cambridge is going to be hosting a number of events to celebrate Black History Month. Danielle Kidd is a board member with Rhythm and Blues Cambridge and the chair of its development committee. Joins the show to talk more about the weekend events. Danielle, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Just gearing up for a world of possibilities this weekend.
It is that indeed. Before we get to those possibilities in front of us, Danielle, for those who don't know much about Rhythm and Blues Cambridge, can you tell us what you're all about, why it got started?
Absolutely. So Rhythm and Blues Cambridge is an organization. We are Black, women-led grassroots organization here in Cambridge, and essentially we support and celebrate the Black community both in Cambridge and also broader throughout Waterloo region, especially the smaller parts that don't tend to have a lot of education or celebration around things like Black History Month, for instance.
I think that might be one of the reasons that this weekend's events are in and around the Langs Community Health Center.
Absolutely, yes. So we will be in the Langs Community Health Center 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. both Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so tell us about, first of all, the Youth Leadership Summit, Healing the Future, that happens tomorrow.
Yes. So this is, for like a little bit of a background, all year we have been doing a Black Community Needs Assessment survey. So this is the first time that we're ever doing a Black Needs Assessment in Waterloo region. So we've been collecting all of the feedback, all the responses, all the survey results. And now this weekend we get to publish those findings and come together as a community to talk about solutions and make sure that everyone's heard. So day one, there was a youth portion to the survey for kids 14 to 17. So day one, this is really about talking about the mental health struggles amongst teens and youth. So we are starting the day with our motivational speaker, Jeff Martin, who's going to get us all pumped. Yeah. And then we have a mental health workshop. So this is really a time where we can get to know each other, build that like peer support network, and talk about tools. We really want to explore tools for people for how they can support mental health, and really talk about what that looks like and some of the struggles that people might be dealing with, especially as kids.
And then that leads us into Sunday's event, which is Building Forward Together, again, 11 until 4 at Langs Community Health Center on Sunday. What does that session look like?
Yes. So this is an event that's, I mean, they're both for everybody, but the first is very youth-focused, and the second is, again, looking at those survey results. And we're going to have a lot of community leaders present. There's going to be a panel discussion where we can all take in these results and put our heads together and think, okay, what is programming going to look like? What do we need? Let's look at these gaps that people are telling us about, and how do we fill those gaps? So we're going to start with like a presentation where our researchers are going to come and show the findings, and then we're going to have a panel discussion. And put our heads together.
You know, you mentioned, Danielle, that really the roots, particularly of Saturday's summit on youth mental health, is taking results from a survey that had been done, which just indicates to me that the work of Rhythm and Blues is obviously happening year round. But I think the month of February and Black History Month offers us, of course, that opportunity to really shine a light on these issues and focus on these celebrations.
Yeah, I think the most important part for us is this work is year-round, exactly like you said, and we don't want people to forget when February is over that, it's not like nothing's happening anymore, so we're really trying to use this as a jumping-off point to show, like, okay, we've heard you, we hear you, like, we're not gonna, you've taken the time, you've been vulnerable with us to give us this information and really put your heart on the table and tell us what you want to see. We want to do that for you. So even though this isn't us doing it right now, this is us saying, like, all right, let's come up with solutions. Like, we hear you and we're going to do something about it. And now you get to see that for the rest of the year, us doing that.
We go back to 2018 to find the very roots of Rhythm and Blues Cambridge when this organization was formed and began doing this work in the community. Are you seeing the fruits of that labor, so to speak?
Absolutely. Yeah. When this organization started, essentially everybody was looking around wondering, it's February. Why am I in Toronto all the time just to have fun? There were really no events here. There was nothing happening, especially in Cambridge, and the tiny townships as well. It was fairly sparse. And, especially families with kids, like, you don't want to have to be driving into Toronto every day. Like, we are here, and it's such a diverse community, and people really deserve to be able to celebrate where they are. And we just didn't want anybody to feel invisible in this community. And now I think that's really showing, like last year we had our Black History Month celebrations at the library and Idea Exchange in Cambridge. And we had a huge turnout. There were tons of people there. It was so beautiful to see people just celebrating together and that community right in front of you. It happened, it's really beautiful.
Is there still an opportunity for folks to take part in the workshop and the panel discussion this weekend?
Yes, 100%.
Good.
So this is a free event both days, and anybody can come and show up. It's at Lang's, so we're starting at it's 11 to 4, but you're welcome to drop in. We always, it's not a Rhythm and Blues event if we're not serving food and having enough for people to take home with them at the end of the day. So absolutely look forward to some Caribbean and African foods. We have a lot of cultural programming as well. So we have some dance and really great movement from Guan Move in Cambridge. She's fantastic, and she will get you on your feet and sweating.
Perfect. And then you can work up an appetite for all that great food.
Yes.
I hope you have a great weekend, Danielle. I really appreciate you making time for the show this morning to tell us about it. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's a pleasure.
All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Danielle Kidd is a board member with Rhythm and Blues Cambridge and the chair of the organization's development committee. A couple of events coming up this weekend to celebrate 30 years of Black History Month in Canada. The first is a youth leadership summit called Healing the Future. That's tomorrow, and then on Sunday, it's Black History Celebration 2026, building forward together with a number of community leaders involved in a panel discussion. Both of these happen from 11 until 4, so that's both tomorrow and Sunday at the Langs Community Health Centre on Concession Road in Cambridge. Rhythm and Blues Cambridge has been around since 2018, offering members of our Black community the sorts of events that previously they were traveling out of town to take advantage of. And of course, we are all included in these celebrations, 30 years now of Black History Month here in Canada. Langs Community Health Centre in Cambridge from 11 until 4, both Saturday and Sunday, the place to be for those celebrations. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, what the heck is an Omas Siskona? And how can you support the work that they do for a very important cause? I will answer those questions for you coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Tell me you're a song from the 1980s without telling me you're a song from the 1980s. That would be Vanity and Under the Influence for Tom on this All Request Friday as we celebrate Black Canadian artists, Black artists, because it is Black History Month, the 30th Black History Month in Canada. And we are celebrating Canadian because we are cheering on all of our athletes over at the Winter Games. Our curlers in a bit of trouble in the eighth end, trailing Sweden 5-2. That's the women's curling semifinal. The men's hockey semifinal gets underway in about 20 minutes, and we will, of course, keep you up to date on those scores as the show goes on. I will be paying attention, I promise, but I will have at least half an eye on the TV monitor in my studio so I can keep up with Connor McDavid and company when they take the ice against Finland. Pleased to be joined on the show now by Janet Paikin, who's a member of Omas Siskona KW. They have an online auction that's about to begin, which can help you help them raise money for the Stephen Lewis Foundation. Jan, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How about yourself?
Just dandy, thanks.
So glad to hear it. Can you tell us a little more about Omas Siskona? Who are you? What do you do?
I'd be pleased to do that. I joined just 2 years ago, so I'm still a newbie. Forgive me if I give you some incorrect information. I will try my best not to. So the Omas are part of, we support the Stephen Lewis Foundation, and our name comes from Omas, which is our heritage here in Kitchener-Waterloo. And Siskona is a Zulu greeting, which means I see you, I welcome you, and it indicates that we are part of the Stephen Lewis support for grandmothers in Africa, the sub-Saharan countries in Africa, where AIDS and HIV has taken a deadly toll. So these grandmothers appreciate our education and our fundraising that gives them community initiatives. We fundraise so that they can help themselves, their kids, their community. And it's these ladies are just a fun group to be part of, and I'm so enjoying it.
I love how you describe yourself as a newbie, Jan. What inspired you to join?
I have friends and neighbors where I live, and at least 3 of them are part of this grandmother's group. And I enjoy being with them, so I figured I better check this place out. I like the idea of supporting, and I have done fundraising as a retired teacher. So I just wondered if I could lend some help to them. And so far, so good. I really enjoy it, and I encourage anyone out there, regardless of your age, you can be a grandmother or you can be a grandother.
I love that. And what great work that you all have been doing for so long in support of the Stephen Lewis Foundation, as you mentioned. And one of the ways that you are raising money is with an online auction that's going to launch tomorrow. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I certainly can. And by the way, our group, which formed in 2008, we have raised over $1 million for the foundation.
Those are some powerful grandmas, Jan.
Exactly. They're dynamic. Powerful is the perfect word for them.
I love it.
So this auction is with Galabid. That would be the site you would go to, galabid.com. And we have all kinds of wow experiences, wow crafting, fitness around the world. Artifacts are part of our auction, and it's easy to register using the galabid.com Siskona auction site. I can repeat it before we sign off this morning, and it's going to help so many people with donations from Canadians and anyone else who's out there. We really appreciate support. And Mike, thank you for agreeing to this interview this morning. You have been fantastic in your support of our foundation.
Well, that's very kind of you to say, but you are doing the heavy lifting. It's not easy just taking a phone call and coming live on the radio, let's be honest. And when I was first introduced, Jan, to Omas Siskona some years ago now, I am just blown away. Like you mentioned that $1 million raised by just our group here in KW since 2008. Truly, every one of you who I have met is an absolute force. And I so admire the work that you do. So I'm happy to be able to help share the word as best I can. Absolutely.
Thank you. Well, as I say, you are appreciated.
So the auction opens tomorrow. It runs for a week until the following Saturday, the 28th of February, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And galabid.com we can go to is the site and look up the Siskona auction.
Yes. People will have to register. It should be very straightforward. I did it, so everybody else should be able to if I can. I hope. It is. I'm on the site right now just kind of poking around. And yeah, yes. you mentioned some of those great experiences like an introductory flying lesson for a Cessna, Gray Silo golf packages. I mean, and so many beautiful handmade pieces that are on here too. It looks beautiful. Yes, these women are extremely skilled. They're very talented. They do a lot of the quilting and whatnot. They're great at baking. We don't have any baking on the site, unfortunately. So sorry. You'll have to come to one of our meetings. Okay. At Christ Lutheran Church. That's a great idea. I'm down for the baking. Absolutely, Jan. Have you set a target as to how much you hope to raise through the auction? Okay, unofficially $4,000. Okay. Unofficially, you know what? So I'm going to say unofficially $5,000. We'll just try to get over that number. But okay, I like it. Remind us again, Jen, where we can find the auction, please. Galabid. That's GALABID.com/Siskona-auction-2026. Beautiful thing. Jan, keep up the great work, you and the rest of the Omas, and thank you very much for joining the show this morning. Thank you, Mike. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye. You as well. Bye-bye now. Jan Paikin is a member of Omas Siskona of KW. Their online auction opens tomorrow, runs for a full week. Let's help them get over that $4,000 goal. Unofficially, that is. But there is a little something in here for everybody. I promise you that. Just go to galabid.com/Siskona, SISKONA-auction, and you'll find your way to it. It's going to be open for a week, and you know what we'll do? We will share this on our Facebook page, make it that much easier for you, okay? Facebook.com/The Mike Farwell Show. Let's help the Omas get over that $4,000 goal for their fundraising. It's a Friday morning, and you know what that means. It's game day, hockey night in Kitchener, and the head coach of the Rangers joins us next on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
That sound can mean only two things. One, the Kitchener Rangers have just scored a goal, and you're at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium to hear the goal song. Two, it's Friday morning just after the 10:30 news, and the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers joins us for the Coaches Show. That's what we're doing now as UC Ahokas joins the program. Good morning, UC.
Good morning.
I understand that the players had a little bit of fun for the team photo just the other day. They all came out with their very best UC Ahokas hairstyle. Now, I know you wear it best, no question about that, but did anybody get even close to pulling it off?
I thought we had a team full of handsome guys there.
Of course we did. Of course we did. We also had a pretty successful road trip through the Eastern Conference last weekend. It's a long trip. It's a tough trip with 3 games in 4 days. You get 5 of 6 points losing in a shootout in Peterborough. How do you evaluate the 3 games that you played?
I thought we did a good job, like all in all 3 games. Like Kingston, I thought we played our game. We got the win. We were the better team. Ottawa was a really tight game. Was, of course, the top game of the league, and was good, great win. And then Peterborough, we just didn't score, and our power play didn't score and we didn't use our chances like we had plenty. And so still got a point. And so we have to be 5 points out of 6. So that's a good road trip.
You talk about that Ottawa game, you see 2 top teams, and we're getting on the end of the season now. Is that something that you can use as a measuring stick of any kind to see how your team matches up against other top teams?
Well, of course, you kind of see where you are. It was tight. Today will be the same thing again against Windsor. So always when you have the top seed teams, so you want to see where you are, and I think we're in a good direction, but still 13 games left to get better.
You talked about the power play in Peterborough, and you did get those 4 chances through the third period into overtime. What was it that was just not clicking? Did they not, pick the right shots or move the puck around too much? What did you see that contributed to not getting those power play goals?
I think we're doing too much extra, and we're not doing our we pre-scout, of course, the PKs. So we weren't using what we know would have worked. So you need to play low plays. Once in a while, we didn't hit low plays once in that game, so I think that's the big thing. But we had chances still, so we just didn't capitalize also.
How do you spend the week getting ready for a big game like Windsor tonight, plus another road trip into Erie after that long trip? How do you get the guys ready?
Well, of course, we had a rest day, of course, after, but then we had good 2 practices and just small things. Our ozone play, scoring, also just power play, special teams, just getting ready, and it's a good measure for us again today. Windsor's been playing good hockey a couple last games, so it's gonna be a tight game tonight.
You have had to play the last couple of weeks without Luca Romano with his lower body injury. Cameron Arquette's the guy that you've called upon in most cases to fill that void in your top 6. How do you think he's been performing?
I think he's done a good job. Of course, you've had a lot of chances, and all in all, he's one of the, even though right-handed, he can play left side, so that's a good thing. Like, he works hard, he's good in ozone. All in all, he's a smart player, so he's kind of a guy you can put in anywhere if you need.
What do you have to do to be successful against another top team like Windsor tonight?
Well, net fronts. I think both, they score goals, a lot of goals from net fronts, so our D has to be. We have to mark our guys, and then again, you can't give their offense too much, and on the rushes, for us, they were one of the best defensive teams in the league, so you really have to build speed in your breakouts, and you have to get to hard areas, and then you have to be smart. You can't sit on the box against these guys.
Team Canada just about to take the ice at the Olympics against Team Finland. Do I even need to ask you who you think is going to win?
No, you don't. There's only one chance.
There's only one chance. Handsome hockey players and only one chance at the Olympics.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Thanks, UC. I'll see you at the rink tonight.
Right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
UC Ahokas brings his sense of humor to the coaches' show today. There were a bunch of handsome hockey players out there for the team photo when the players all did their very best UC Ahokas hairstyle impressions, slicking their hair back to look as much like the coach as they could. And there is no prouder Finn, at least that I know, than the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers. Not that I know a lot of Finns, but obviously UC Ahokas, as you know, had success with the junior program in Finland before becoming the first European head coach in the Ontario Hockey League. And he will be cheering for Finland, even though he now works here in Kitchener, in, of course, the wonderful country of Canada. Big game. It's just underway over at the Olympics, and we will keep you updated on the score as the day goes on. As for your Kitchener Rangers, they have beaten the Windsor Spitfires twice already this season. Spits have won 3 in a row. They're starting to come around and find their game a little bit. Discipline had been a problem. They seem to have sorted that out, and it's going to be a big one tonight at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. You know that as well as I do. And we've got big coverage for you, as we always do. Your only 30-minute pregame show. I'm pretty sure it's the only 30-minute pregame show anywhere in the league. I know some other guys do 15-minute pregame shows, but I think we've got the big one for you. The Harris Law pregame show will get underway at 6:30. Josh Piercy and I laying the groundwork, getting you ready for the big game. And then, of course, we've got all of the action between the Rangers and the Spits. And then after the game, we stick around and take your phone calls on Rangers Talk. So lots of coverage of your Kitchener Rangers right here on your home of Rangers hockey, starting with your Harris Law pregame show tonight at 6:30 on 570 News Radio. 3 games in the OHL last night. Oh, you poor Owen Sound attack. They were leading 3-1 in the second period over Barrie, but the Colts came back and won it in a shootout 4-3. So the attack, I guess, can take some comfort in getting the point, but they've lost 8 games in a row. They had the lead in the second, couldn't hold it. Barrie, mind you, a very good hockey club. The Colts, a 4-3 win over the Owen Sound attack last night. Meantime, in Peterborough, a battle for 4th place continues in that Eastern Conference, and North Bay got the better of the Petes in Peterborough last night. The Battalion with a 5-4 win over Peterborough. So North Bay is now 2 points behind Peterborough for 4th place in the Eastern Conference. And, of course, home ice in the first round. And in the other game, the Saginaw Spirit get 2 goals in the final 3 minutes of the third, including the first career goal from Blake Barnes with 10 seconds to go. And Saginaw on home ice picks up a 2-1 win over the Sudbury Wolves. Those are your 3 games from the league last night, along with your Kitchener Rangers tonight. There will be 6 other games, including London home to Barrie. The Guelph Storm find themselves with a Friday night off, but we'll keep our eyes on London at home to Barrie. Big game there. I mentioned already how good the Colts are. And Sault Ste. Marie is home to Sarnia. Those are games that, of course, will impact the Kitchener Rangers and the standings. Flint also has this Friday night off. It is Kitchener with a 1-point lead on both Windsor and Flint in the Western Conference standings. And, of course, Kitchener wants to hang on to that top seed, because with that top seed comes home ice through the entirety of the playoffs that the Rangers are still there. 80 points for the Rangers, 79 for both Flint and Windsor. And just looking at some of the statistical categories, when we look at points, we still find a couple of Kitchener Rangers in the top 10. Christian Humphreys with 72 points, Jack Pridham with 71. The league leader in points, Nathan Aspinall, has 77 points. So 5 more than Humphreys, 6 more than Pridham. And Dylan Edwards hanging around as well with 69 points. That is 11th best in the Ontario Hockey League. Christian Humphreys continues to lead the way in assists. He's got 50 for the season. And when you look at goal scorers, Jack Pridham was running right up there with Merrick Van Acker, 1 goal behind for a little bit. Now he's 4 goals behind is Pridham, tied with Kieran Walton, 35 goals apiece. Merrick Van Acker has 39 goals on the season. And watch out for Kevin He of the Flint Firebirds. He's got goals in 9 straight games, and he's at 33 on the season. But Jack Pridham sitting second in goals, Christian Humphreys sitting first in assists. The Kitchener Rangers, first place in the Western Conference. They will host the Windsor Spitfires tonight. Pre-game coverage gets underway at 6:30 with your Harris Law pregame show. Josh Piercy and I, right here on 570 News Radio. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the KW Titans in action again this weekend as well, and they are standing up against bullies at the Memorial Auditorium. The story coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Baby, it's over. Trying to forget about ordinary things, typical, predictable. Maybe I knew the end before we started. You got me feeling like I owe you something. 'Cause you were there in times I had nothing, but you threw it all away.
I had almost forgotten about Deborah Cox, but here she is on our All Request Friday, celebrating Black Canadian artists. Deborah Cox with It's Over Now by request from Mandy on our All Request Friday. Something else we do on Fridays is get you set for a weekend with your KW Titans. They are home on Sunday to the Windsor Express in the Kindness Game. Pink Shirt Day. David Schooley, co-owner of the Titans, joins the show. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Mike.
And along with David, Cliff Clinkscales. Coach Cliff, the head coach of your KW Titans, is with us as well. Cliff, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having us.
It's always a pleasure, my man. And listen, 3 wins in a row for the team. 3 of 4 you've beaten Windsor. But let's focus on that 3-game winning streak, which includes a win over the league-leading Sudbury 5. What's got the team going in the right direction, Coach Cliff?
We just been locked in on trying to get better, worry about what we could do well, control the things we can control. Our guys just been having a next up mentality. We've been having some key guys out all year. Haven't had a healthy team yet, but it's no excuses, so I'm proud of these guys, and we just got to continue to work and keep building.
You've got a league-leading almost 50% shooting percentage from the field, Coach Cliff. What does that tell you about your basketball club?
It tells us we got a very unselfish team. We preach to them about playing hard and playing the right way. And for me, I just want our guys to take good quality shots, efficient shots, and take the shots that we work on and take it with confidence.
Team also leads the league from the free throw line as well, so things going in the right direction, certainly for our Titans. And David, you know, Coach Cliff talks about unselfish play and a team mentality, and you bring that whole approach to this basketball club and its connection to our community, don't you?
You know, every game is important, you know, not only on the court but off the court. So, you know, we're very excited to you know, preemptively celebrate Anti-Bullying Day, which is next Wednesday, and we're doing that with the Pink Shirt Day on Sunday.
So are fans encouraged to wear their own pink shirts to the game?
They can. I would love them to wear their own pink shirts. We may have a couple of pink shirts available for sale if you choose to buy one, if you don't have one yet. You know, it's quite an initiative, and you know, it started back on the East Coast in 2007, right, with a couple of grade 12 students supporting a grade 9 student. So, it's really gained some traction, and it's near and dear to our hearts, while we also celebrate Kids' Ability and the Waterloo Region Health Network on Sunday.
Coach Cliff, that makes me think about, David's always been about making sure this team is involved in the community. There's always a community connection. How do you instill that in your players about the importance of being, members of this community in Waterloo Region?
Oh, that's big time. We got some high character guys, and we all know at some point the basketball stopped bouncing. So we put on a good show, but one thing people always remember is how you treat them, right? So we like to go in these communities and go into these events and go in there with a good attitude and get the kids some good talks and let them know anything is possible if you put your mind to it. So basketball part for them is easy, but being a good person, a good human being, you could go a long way with that. So that's very important.
I love that idea that one day the basketball stops bouncing. Maybe they can just get into coaching like you did, Coach Cliff.
Yeah, if they want to get a little stressed and get here early.
Did you makes it look easy, but the interesting part, and I think you'll agree with this. I hope you agree with it, G. At this point in time, Cliff is making small adjustments, right? Just micro adjustments to fine-tune the team, and that's how he's got a record that he has, 11-4 so far this season.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I think we have a good group of guys, so we haven't had to make big changes. So just like David said, just fine-tuning, staying sharp, finding a body here and there, and just to add to what we're doing. Nobody is coming here to take away from nobody, just adding to what we're doing because, like I said, we got a good team. So it's not about staying humble, staying hungry, and getting healthy as possible. So we can finish out the second half of the season strong and going to the postseason and playing our best basketball, but most importantly, having some health with our luck. And that's the main thing in playoffs. You want to have a little luck so you can be healthy.
Coach, you're right there with the Sudbury Five. They're 11-3. You are 11-4. How much do you believe in this Titans team that you can get that top spot in the standings?
I believe in it 1,000%. They're the defending champs. They have a very good team. But the only thing we could do is worry about ourselves. Each day, don't try to cheat the grind. Try to get 1% better each day and just worry about the things we need to do to keep building and keep getting better day by day and week by week.
David, the tip-off on Sunday is 3 o'clock against Windsor. How do we get tickets?
KWTitans.com. That's a great place. I want everybody to come out. We've got the J.F. Carmichael Public School Choir singing. Right, we got 50 members out there. We've got some other things going on today. You know what today is, Mike? Today is number 2. You know what that is?
Number 2.
It is the second Farwell for Hire sign going up today.
I love it.
I know it's early. But it's going up at 186 Wellington in Cambridge. So the second Farwell for Hire. So anybody that buys a house from us during the campaign, we donate $1,000 to this Mike Cystic Fibrosis Farwell for Hire campaign, where you've raised way over $1 million, right?
We're about 1.6 million and counting now, and it's from help like yours. So thank you very much for that, David, as always.
Thank you, Mike, for all the things that you're doing in the community.
Looking forward to another big game on Sunday. Coach Cliff, go get Windsor, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us just to get the word out there. Everybody come out and support us and keep supporting us.
Absolutely. Love talking ball with you. We'll talk again soon. Thanks, Cliff.
All right.
Thanks, David. Yep, bye-bye. David Schooley is the co-owner of the KW Titans. Cliff Clinkscales is the head coach, Coach Cliff. 3 out of 4, the Titans have already won over the Windsor Express. That's their opponent on Sunday. Wear a pink shirt or buy one there and support the anti-bullying efforts as the KW Titans celebrate Kindness Day at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock, the Titans tip off with the Windsor Express. I'm going to get you to the 570 News Center for an update. Still scoreless between Canada and Finland midway through the first. Finland is currently on a power play. After this update from the 570 News Center, we're going to have our Friday 4 roundtable discussing the week's big stories. Stay with us on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. A little bit of Drake and that is by request started from the bottom. It's an all-request Friday, and we're celebrating Black Canadian artists. Canadian because, of course, we are all on Team Canada at the Olympics. Something else we do every Friday, along with all request, is, of course, our Friday 4 Roundtable, and we welcome around the table this morning David Marskell, CEO of the museum. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, everybody.
Yvonne Fernandez joins us, president of the Dune Pioneer Community Center. Good morning, Yvonne.
Good morning, Mike. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. And we have a brand new contributor to our Friday 4 Roundtable discussions this week. Sam Nabby joins us, among other things, the project coordinator with 1 Million Neighbors. Sam, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Mike. Happy to be here.
All right, a number of issues to discuss, so we will dive right in. And since he's the new guy, he gets first crack at the first topic. Sam, we'll start with you on the latest defection from the Federal Conservative Party. Another member joins the Liberals. How do we feel about the possibility that the Liberals will poach their way to a majority government in Ottawa?
Yeah, I mean, my first thought when I heard the news that Matt Jenner was crossing the floor, I was immediately I thought of his original statements on the matter when questions started coming up a couple of months ago, and the fact is he wanted to win. He wanted to win in the last election and wasn't on the winning team, and now he's crossing the floor. So in a sense, I feel like it's very cynical, but it does make sense. It makes sense in the same way that Prime Minister Carney is moving more to the right to try to attract those conservative voters and those conservative MPs.
Yvonne, what do you make of the latest floor crossing and what it means for the potential of a majority in Ottawa?
Oh, Mike, you and I are on the same page with this. It just drives me crazy. You know what? If you are elected by the people, you are there to represent the people who elected you. And when you cross the floor, in my opinion, you are turning your back on those people that elected you for the reasons that you stated you were running. And it actually infuriates me, because I think if you really don't want to be in that position, in that party position anymore, then leave and come back at the next election. Don't play both sides against the middle and hedge your bet. So, if this doesn't work out, well, I'll have that in the background. I'm never a big fan of that. Be honest, transparent. He said he was going to leave because he wanted to spend time with his family. You know what? I really am cynical, and I don't believe that was his reason at all. So I'm very disappointed in any member of parliament that crosses the floor. Stick with what you do, stay with what you said you were going to do, and wait till the next election.
Maybe Matt Jenner found out that his family didn't want to spend time with him. Who knows? Who knows? David Marskell, your thoughts?
Well, I know this may not be popular, but I would normally agree with Yvonne. But we need stability right now. We need a majority government in the face of Trump. We need to pull together. This is in some ways showing unity. And is it right? Is it fair to those who voted? Probably not. But it is part of our history. I mean, there's been 300 times that MPs have crossed going in all directions. But it's just so unique right now with what's happening south of the border and so on. So, and it's not just moving to the right. He's attracted an MPP from the provincial government to run in a by-election federally. Carney has. I mean, so that's showing that he has proven himself as a politician and not just a banker. I think that in that short year that he's been here, he's done a good job on many levels. I think it was Churchill said, if you're not a liberal when you're young, you have no heart, and if you're not a conservative when you're older, you have no brain. So I'm kind of thinking it's a good thing we need a majority. We can't have instability. We need to know the plans that are being laid out are going to be executed.
I think go ahead, Yvonne.
So I don't disagree with you, David. I think that Carney has done a good job with the portfolio and the mess he was handed. I just think that as an elected official at one point in time, that if I had turned my back on my constituents, that I would have been really giving them the middle finger and saying, I really don't care what you think. And that what really bothers me.
Yeah. Well, in 3 years, they can give them the middle finger back.
I think there's a lot of heat on the individual MP in this situation. And whenever we have a news of a floor crossing, it's about that MP and their constituents in that riding. But I do think this is also a reflection of the broader cynicism of our political system. We talked about how Carney has governed these last few months, and there is a trend of politicians, particularly liberal governments, campaigning to the left and governing on the right, and that is its own type of betrayal. So, this is something that before the election and during the election, people were talking about Mark Carney as a great environmentalist, and in his book and in his previous speeches about, moving towards a low carbon economy, and then some of his first actions are abandoning the carbon tax, making it easier to build new pipelines in Alberta, and expanding incentives for carbon capture that will allow us to dig more oil out of the ground. And those also, I think, are betrayals of the voters. Who voted for Carney thinking he was going to deliver on something different.
In principle, go ahead, David. You were about to say something.
It may be a little provocative. Did I just sound like Larry David? If I was the Kitchener Centre MP right now, politically, I would be considering crossing to the Liberal side right now, because my chances against running against the Green Party in the next election would be enhanced. Just saying.
And we have heard that there is at least one more MP out there who is considering crossing the floor. 2 by-elections in relatively safe Liberal ridings in the Toronto area. A really interesting one in Quebec where the Liberal member had won by 1 vote and the Supreme Court has annulled that result. But where I was going to go a moment ago, in principle, I'm with Yvonne on this. I don't like the floor crossing for a variety of reasons. At minimum, I would like to see a by-election and then win back a seat as a member of that new party. However, I think if we're being honest, this may well be a reflection on Pierre Poilievre's leadership as much as it is on Mark Carney's. I mean, Yvonne, what do you think of that? I know Pierre Poilievre got a resounding endorsement at the leadership review, but clearly there are a number of members of his caucus that aren't that thrilled.
And the question I would like to ask, his name just escaped to me, for crossing the floor. Did you vote for Pierre at the convention? And if you didn't, then maybe you should make that abundantly clear as well. But I don't. I know we'll never get the answer to that question. And yes, it seems. I know he got a strong majority, and I was actually surprised that he got that much of a strong majority, because I'm not liking the way he's talking. Negative. Can we work together a little bit more, Pierre? It's good to do that, right? Build unity in the country.
David, do you think?
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. David, do you think this is any reflection on Poilievre's leadership?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, when Carney came out and was running, and Trump did what he was doing, I'm biased, but there was just no question who I would prefer to take on Trump. And that was experience of the banker and so on, versus what Yvonne just said, the negative Canada's broken and all of those things. So yeah, I think it's kind of worked in both directions. Pierre's gone backwards. I was surprised he got such a huge support to continue. Really important question Yvonne just asked, though, is the people that are crossing, did they support him? Or the most recent person, did they support him at the convention?
It does fuel some cynicism in some respects, doesn't it, Sam?
It sure does. And I think it is also a reflection of party leadership styles. And this is not just conservatives, but I would say across the board in Canadian politics, there is so much power in the leader of the party and so much discipline that MPs have to fall in line on that there's not that much room for dissent. I mean, in other countries, I would say in the UK, in the US, there is more of a there are factions within parties, and they disagree sometimes, and they don't always vote together. And that doesn't mean you have to leave the party, but it means that that you have those discussions out in the open sometimes. I think in Canada we have a system where that party discipline is so rigid that it makes more sense to leave the party than to try to advocate from within it sometimes. And the gut punch of some of these voters who vote for a party that they believe in, and then that person switches sides. When we talk about parties, we don't have a system where you elect for parties. We have a system where you elect for individual MPs. And this whole discussion, I think, is also an argument for proportional representation. If we want an electoral system that actually legitimizes the party structure and makes sure that what people's values are and platform priorities are is the makeup of Parliament, that's proportional representation.
Amen. I see 100%. Nods around the table on that one, and I am all for some electoral reform for sure. Sam Nabby, Yvonne Fernandez, David Marskell with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, how are we doing when it comes to snow clearing in the region this brutal winter? We'll discuss it coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. The funny thing about this request from Craig on our All Request Friday is it's music that we already use as what we call bumper music on the show. Coming back from a commercial break, you might hear a little bit of Blinding Lights by The Weeknd. It's an All Request Friday celebrating Black Canadian musicians. It's also our Friday 4 Roundtable discussing the week's big stories. Yvonne Fernandez, David Marskell, and Sam Nabby are with us. Yvonne, first crack for you on this one. Look, it's been a brutal winter. I don't think anybody's going to dispute that. But do we need to reset the language that's been used in Cambridge anyway, our snow clearing approaches? What do you think?
So last winter was pretty brutal too. I don't know why we've forgotten how bad it was. I go by the videos I have of my son and daughter jumping into a massive pile, as adults, into a massive pile of snow. And last winter, because we live on a court, so it's a good indicator. We usually get last dibs on snow clearing. It was pretty good, but man, I don't know what's happened. The snow plow comes down and leaves a nice big trail of snow down the middle, or doesn't even get into the center of the court. And it's, yes, you're always going to expect to have it on the end of your driveway. But it just seems that there hasn't been any consistency and continuity. And I saw the pictures of what the councillor took in Cambridge, and of course her name escapes me again. Shameful, like accessible parking spots that are full of snow, and the bus stops have been absolutely horrendous. I really feel for anybody who has any kind of accessibility issues, and myself included now. The neuropathy can be really challenging, and if you step on a slippery spot, you're down. And so it's something that I think we have to revisit the priorities. Yes, the main streets need to be done. Yes, transit routes need to be done. But we need to look at these parking lots where people who have any accessibility issues have to be able to park and get safely out of their vehicle.
The councillor was Corey Kimpson, Ward 3 in Cambridge, who identified those accessible parking spots that were anything but accessible thanks to snow coverage and ice. David, what do you think? Time for a reset here?
I don't know. I have a lot of empathy this year for the city and the municipalities and the workers. I mean, one of the very first early storms was preceded by extreme cold. And as you recall, the salt, they couldn't lay the salt down because the salt wouldn't work. And then they couldn't get the snow off the road, and it took weeks for us to start to see cement and pavement again. But I don't disagree with what Yvonne's saying. I mean, I would hope that all levels of government would sit and debrief. I'm not sure which level takes care of the flyover when cars start to fly off. But there needs to be, strategic priorities for those main arteries and main roads and sidewalks and then side streets. And if there's time, bike lanes. Sorry.
No, but the point on the flyover, which would be a provincial responsibility, I found it very interesting, much like this conversation around accessible parking spaces. So we have the absolute tragedy on the flyover, and later that same day, the snow clearing crew is out there clearing that dangerous snowbank. It leaves one to wonder why it wasn't in the queue prior to the tragedy that occurred. Those accessible parking spaces, once Corey Kimpson in Cambridge makes people aware of them, suddenly they were cleared. So I'm starting to think priorities is the way to go here, Yvonne, that you alluded to. But Sam, what do you make of dealing with this brutal winter this year?
Yeah, this winter has been a lot of snow. It's been a big one. But also, as Yvonne said, we've had winter before, and we always seem to forget that it happens. It's interesting to me that the conversations around municipal sidewalk snow clearing tend to happen around September, October, when we're leading into budget time, and we've forgotten all about the experience of slipping and sliding the previous winter. But yeah, this is something that does happen and will continue to happen. I believe that there's a huge coordination responsibility here and a transparency that needs to improve. I think when people see a bus stop uncleared or a street that's unsafe or a sidewalk that's full of ice, they don't know if the responsibility is with the city, with GRT, with the region, who is it, the property owner? And in some sense, it shouldn't matter. We do need one way to figure out how to actually get that cleared. And I think that was the main frustration of Devin, who raised this issue and started clearing some of these spaces himself in Cambridge, where, it doesn't matter how it gets done. I think people just want to see it get done. And I think the response, a knee-jerk response from a lot of our local governments has been to encourage people to report issues, which is fine. But when we report issues, I mean, I'll speak for myself, and some of my friends have had experiences of reporting the same uncleared block of snow again and again and again, not knowing where that report is going, not knowing where it is in the queue. So there's a responsibility for our local governments to report back and say, hey, thank you for your report. Here's what we did about it. Or thank you for your report. We have a ton of other priorities right now, and we're going to get to this another time.
It's a good point on what...
I think that's really important, is response.
Yeah, and
Go ahead, Mike.
we know we talk about that, don't we, Yvonne? That this is how it's going to work, right? Somebody like Sam or one of his friends issues a complaint, and the municipality has got to respond to that. Otherwise, we never get that block of snow cleared.
Mm-hmm.
You've been
I mean, we have a number of residents that have snow blowers on our court, and I can't tell you the number of times that they've gone all the way and pushed it into the court, which is exactly what the snowplow does. So we're not breaking any rules or deviating from what the snowplow would normally have done. It's just to make. We have a couple of people on the street that should an ambulance have had to come down this street. It would have been a bad scene. It would not have been good. And so, we're not the only street. We're not the only court that has aging people or people who are unwell who need EMS or first responders. But I want to see exactly what you just said, Sam and Mike. Where are we in the queue? Are we going to be
and
5
I'm
days out?
sympathetic that it's a difficult challenge. I mean, you have to respond within hours to a snowfall and prioritize different areas. But the actual implementation and the details matter. If 90% of the road is cleared, but your bus stop is covered in snow and you can't get on or off the bus to work, that's the weak link. That's really going to make your day terrible. I mean, I've a friend who's uses a wheelchair and is very confident and capable in navigating with his wheelchair, but still has to go out on the road instead of the sidewalk when it's full of snow this winter. This is not acceptable, and at the very least, I think people need to know when something will be fixed, and they don't really care by whom.
Let's hope the debrief is an extensive one following this winter. Real quick, David.
One only good thing Mel Lastman did in Toronto is he had them lift the gate and leave the windrow so that the end of driveways weren't blocked in. And that was very good. That's the only good thing Mel Lastman did.
David Marscall, Sam Nabby, Yvonne Fernandez with us. It's the Friday 4 Roundtable on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
But not invented. Rhymes from the ego-driven, self-centered. Entered the fast lane and never got dented. Life in a flash, pipes, buds, and hash. Three of my
little bit of Mocha Only along with Swollen Members. A song called Fuel Injected by request from Julie on this All Request Friday, celebrating Black Canadian artists. Friday also means our Friday 4 Roundtable, a discussion of the week's big stories. With us around the table today, David Marscall, CEO of the museum, Sam Nabby, who's a project coordinator with 1 Million Neighbors, among so many other things. I've seen Sam delegate at regional council meetings lately, very active and involved. Yvonne Fernandez is the president of the Dune Pioneer Community Association. David, we're going to give you first crack at the next one, and it is about the changes the province has announced in order to better fund post-secondary institutions. This was something that the institutions have been asking for quite some time. However, it comes at the cost of OSAP grants for students. They will get fewer of them, and their tuition is also going to increase. What do you think of the balance that's been struck here, if indeed you think there is one?
Well, I think the whole point is balance. The post-secondary institutions need the funding. They haven't had the funding in too long. I mean, I think UW has a deficit of $94 million, and Laurier is more than that. They need the assistance and so on. So the money's got to come from somewhere. The funding has to come from somewhere. Maybe the percentages how they've switched them are a bit extreme. Going from whatever it was, 75 to 25%, and maybe they could have started at 50%, 50-50 or something like that. I don't know about the line about, did Ford say something about their people are buying watches and aftershave or perfume or something? The reporting is pretty strict. As I recall, when I went to university, it's pretty strict how you get the funding and so on. And just by the way, I went to Etobicoke Collegiate. Doug Ford went up the street in Etobicoke, and guidance counselor, I don't know who came up with this line, this joke, but guidance counselors would put us through some test, and then they would say, this is what you should follow as a career path. And I remember the joke very clearly that people would say, oh, I came up with underwater basket weaving. So I don't know if that was an Etobicoke area joke or something, but I don't know where the basket weaving came up with Doug Ford, but it was discussed in Etobicoke Collegiate. I know that.
It did show up at St. Jerome's High School from time to time as well. That would be the easy course to take in post-secondary, just so you could get a degree or diploma. And yes, Premier Ford did invoke that, saying, hey, get into programs that will get you jobs once you graduate. But Sam, I'll throw it over to you for your thoughts on the changes.
Yeah, I think it's pretty severe. This move to reduce significantly the amount of grants and increase loans. I mean, I don't know what the terms of these loans are going to be, if they're extending the interest-free period or anything like that. But it's a solution to the underfunding of education on the backs of students. It's all on the backs of students, which is really unfair in my opinion. Direct funding to post-secondary institutions has not kept pace, and it looks like the Ford government would rather make students pay more and have to take on more debt. And maybe that means these students are going to have to get a second job or work while they're studying, which is really not the ideal way to go through your post-secondary career. So I think it's pretty lopsided, to be honest. I would be more interested in seeing the provincial government invest in programming for post-secondary institutions from general revenues. I mean, this is something that benefits all of society to have an educated workforce. We can get that money back in increased salaries and income taxes from that in the future. But doing it, front-loading this and forcing students to take on all this debt up front is not the way, in my opinion.
I think the point on general revenues is an interesting one, because I've never closed my mind completely to the idea that tuition could or should be free in Ontario. It is in other parts of the world, and I recognize, there's a debate to be had about that, but to Sam's point, a well-educated workforce benefits all of us down the road, so why not make that investment in post-secondary, just as a thought starter? But Yvonne, what do you make of the changes just announced?
Well, it's interesting that you would say tuition should be affordable or free, as it is in other countries. So I was going to raise that point. So you took that away from me.
I'm sorry, Yvonne.
Okay.
I should learn to be quiet more.
That's okay. But the deficit that many universities and colleges are running, I think, can be attributed to the fat at the top. And this may make everybody cringe, but I think that there's a lot of administrative salaries that could be redirected or dispersed, I guess. I'm not using the right words that I want to say, to make it a bit more efficient. I think that's part of the problem. And we saw that with Conestoga College. I cringe every time I say that. As a graduate of Conestoga College, it irks me how much money was being paid out to the top staff people. That money should be going to programs. That money should be going to instructors. And you're absolutely right, Sam and David and Mike, about an educated community. It helps everybody, not just in the higher academics, but also in our trades and the fundamental learning to teach people to be able to do some simple plumbing, to increase our tradespeople, that the basis and the foundation of our communities are those people who did all of that hard work: masonry, plumbing, electricity, digging foundations, all of that. It has to be a part of our academics and not just, white collar learning, as we used to call it. And yes, basket weaving was thrown around when I was at college too.
It's an interesting point on the upper layers of salaries at post-secondary institutions, because we had a prof on from the University of Waterloo some time ago, and I was hoping his proposal would get more traction. I didn't see it get much further than our local paper and our show here, but he was proposing basically a 1% reduction in salary per $100,000 earned. So if you're making $100K, $1,000 goes back. $200K, it's 2%. $300K, 3%, et cetera. And he thought this would be, it wasn't going to solve the funding problem in and of itself, but it would be a gesture on the part of tenured professors who are doing rather well financially to help ease the funding crunch at post-secondary. I don't think it was a terrible idea.
Yeah. I think the problem is once you start making that amount of money, it's hard to give it up because you live to what you make, right? And as an academic, wouldn't you want to see more students succeed and not struggle by learning and having to maintain a part-time job so that they can afford to educate themselves?
Yeah, I would like to see a breakdown of the admin staff versus the faculty staff, and because really, if these institutions are spending a lot of money on the administration and the support, there's a lot of services that students need that are important. There's housing support, there's mental health services. There are great things that happen in the administration side, but as an institution of learning, what is the balance there? I have a family member who recently moved back to Canada after spending a PhD in Sweden, and now he has a teaching position here in town. And I don't have the numbers on hand, but he was telling me about the fact that Canadian universities have a lot more on this administration side. And yeah, Yvonne, I take your point about cutting the fat at the top.
I forget the numbers that the professor had come up with because I was just going off the top of my head. I remember the conversation. It was definitely into the millions. Again, it wasn't going to solve everything in and of itself, but some interesting ideas there besides just putting this all on the backs of the students studying at those schools. Sam Nabby, Yvonne Fernandez, David Marskell with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable. We have tackled 3 topics. That means there's one more still to come. Social media and whether or not it's harming the mental health of kids. That's the basis for a lawsuit launched from British Columbia, and we'll talk about it with our Friday 4 Roundtable coming up on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
To swing on down, and stop. You know what I'm saying? So he could get on. Now this is what we doing. We playing the role of that sweet chariot, and we swinging down to pick you up. You know what I'm saying? Riding. For real. Now, it's like, if you want to ride with me, you don't even know what ride is. Look, if you want to get clean, you want to get dirty, you want to go left, right, this is what we do. Well, it's the knocker, the chiz rocker. Party when I'm
Takes me back about 20 years in this crazy radio career of mine. And Choclair, we used to play it at a radio station I used to work for about 20 years ago. It's Let's Ride on this All Request Friday, celebrating Black Canadian artists. Canada, because we're all pulling for Team Canada at the Olympics. Our men's hockey team, by the way, down 2-0 to Finland in the second period. And Black artists, because it is Black History Month. Our Friday 4 Roundtable has convened to discuss the week's big stories. Sam Nabby, Yvonne Fernandez, David Marskell with us. And Sam, we'll start with you on this lawsuit, the plaintiff for which lives in British Columbia, suing social media giant Meta, suggesting that the company knowingly exposes children to content that is harmful to their mental health. What do you make of the claims made here in this lawsuit?
Yeah, I have to get my mind focused because I'm still vibing to that Choclair tune.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Coming to Kitchener last summer at the Mama's Cookout Festival.
Nice.
So, anyway, but the social media companies have, they manipulate youth and they spread misinformation, and they're where culture gets created. So, I mean, as someone, I'm 35 and I'm getting to the point where I try to get on something like TikTok and I realize that I'm too old and this is not for me anymore. So I think on the one hand we have to be careful about making decisions about youth and social media when that is where there's a language and a platform and a format of doing things that is really inaccessible to those of us that are older. But at the same token, social media runs on attention. It runs on exploiting people's weaknesses, and we've known this for a long time. So I think my first reaction is just that yes, I would support the lawsuit. I think companies need to be more diligent with protecting their users, but it's not just about youth. I mean, there's older adults who are getting tricked by misinformation as well, and all of us are affected in one way or another.
Yvonne, what do you make of this?
You know, I would like to see what Australia is doing in terms of no social media for teenagers under 16. Under 18 would be even better. So a perfect example, we're planning a trip. And so, of course, I've been Googling all kinds of stuff and looking up. I can't believe the number of ads that are now being targeted to me, shoulder bags and different shoes and buying this. It just blows me away. And I think, why am I even on this platform? Why am I even looking at this? And so less and less. But I feel like I'm a fairly astute person. But anybody who has a little bit of hesitancy or uncertainty, or they have a little bit of mental illness or a lot of mental illness, they get sucked in, and it just becomes one big rabbit hole. The ad that I see on TV that really affects me is the kids helpline, and these young girls or the young boys that you see them texting, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is so horrible. Bullying has always been around, but to the degree that is around now, because of social media, because of the availability to bully somebody from afar, it's terrifying to me. I mean, I have grandchildren, and I really worry about what this is going to do. I'm hoping that my children will put a very, very restrictive or a no social media at all on our kids to protect them. We have to protect them.
Yeah, we used to go knock on doors in the neighborhood, and now I think we just get on group chats in whatever platform or on whatever platform those group chats are available. And I'm just thinking about the kind of content that these young people are seeing and what it does to them, to their body image, and a number of other things in that regard. David, what do you make of it?
Well, it's certainly very, very scary. And with the quickness of AI over the last few months and so on, it's tough to believe anything online. I mean, I'll see something, I'll come across it, and then I try to double check it to make sure that actually that's what's happened. Yeah, but kids generally need to detox, a digital detox, and we all do. It'd be great if there was a way that the companies could turn off access from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock or whatever. But it is up to the parents too, right? Like the parents need to take responsibility in this in terms of non-school hours and make sure their children aren't on these on the devices and so on. Easy for me to say, I'm on mine all the time. And then during school, I think it was the Fraser Institute, they did a study, and it was something like kids in school were distracted 32 minutes out of each hour by social media, even though they weren't allowed to have certain things turned on. But we definitely need to go back to teaching typing skills and so on, computer typing, but we need to go back to books and get people to learn how to read and to write cursive and all those things. But mind you, I would like to go back and get rid of Sunday shopping.
Oh, I heard that brought up in a different context just this week, David. I'm kind of with you. There was a department store not far from my house when I was a kid, and on Sundays we used the parking lot for ball hockey because there was nobody there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know what? 100%, David. It disturbs me that that schools are using smart screens to introduce subject matter, and I'm thinking, okay, so they're already in kindergarten being subjected to screen. Can we maybe just not even bring screens in? And sure, smart boards are wonderful opportunities for different kind of learning and accessibility to different opportunities. But holding a book in your hand, I'm going to grab a book, always have one in my hand, is the best way to learn. Yeah. The best way.
I understand the reaction to think about banning access for youth to these platforms or going back to pen and paper, and there's value in that. I think there's value for all of us to do a digital detox every once in a while, but I do think there is something lost when you're a teacher or an educator trying to connect with youth and inspire them and actually be on their level and make them feel like you are part of their world when you are taking this from a place of exclusion. I've seen successful examples of there was a book I was reading where the teacher says this is her method. They sit in a circle, the whole class has a discussion, and if you are on your phone, if you feel distracted, if you need to not be there, you have to leave the circle if you're not present. And it's not a punishment, it's a way for the students to realize what's going on in their minds and in their emotions, and for them, and eventually as the term goes on, these students will recognize, you know what, I'm way too distracted right now, I'm going to go and be on my phone and not disturb the rest of the group. But when I am able to be present and when I am able to talk in this circle, that's an opportunity for youth to feel some empowerment over their technology and to learn the skills to really cope with how to deal with this very addictive device. And maybe just understand how good it feels to be present when they are able to do so. It's a really interesting approach from that teacher. And that's all the time we have for our Friday 4 Roundtable today. Sam Nabby, who is a project coordinator with 1 Million Neighbors. Yvonne Fernandez, the president of the Dune Pioneer
Park Community Association, and David Marskell, CEO at the museum. Thank you all for sharing your time with us on the show today. Great viewpoints, and we look forward to our next conversation. Enjoy the weekend ahead.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Hey,
Nice
everybody.
to see you,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Yvonne Fernandez, David Marskell, Sam Nabby with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning as we get you to the news center for your your noon hour update. We continue to cheer on Team Canada, trailing 2-0 to Finland with just over 6 minutes to play in the second period. Far from over, but Canada has some work to do. And hey, guess what else? I'm going to push the magic button. There you go. Phone lines are wide open to you for Free Phones Friday. That's how we close our show every week. It's up to you to make the call on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Girl, I can't notice but to notice you, noticing me. From across the room, I can see it and can't stop myself from looking. Noticing you, noticing me. Watch out, I've seen a type before. That girl is so dangerous. That girl is so dangerous. That girl is a bad girl. I've seen a type before. She's so dangerous. That girl is so dangerous. That girl is a bad girl. Yeah.
You know, we called him Cardi before Cardi B was even a thought. At least I think so. Cardinal Offishell by request on this All Request Friday, celebrating Black Canadian artists. That is Dangerous by request from Liam. It's Black artists because it is still Black History Month. It's Canadian artists because we are cheering on Team Canada at the Olympics. We had just picked up another bronze in speed skating. And as I mentioned just before that update with Paul McPhee, Canada had been, past tense, had been trailing Team Finland 2-0 in the semifinal men's hockey game. But I said lots of hockey left. And between me saying that and Paul's update at noon, Team Canada scored a goal to make it 2-1. They've still got a lot of work to do because this Finnish team is something else. But we're in it. We're a shot away from tying the game as we are under 2 minutes to go in the second period. I'll keep you up to date on the score of that as we have our tradition here on the show. Free Phones Friday, our final hour together for the week. We open the phone lines so we can hear from you about what it is that's on your mind today. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. We're going to start with the birthday boy, Preston Paul, 2 days away from big number 65, buddy.
Good afternoon, Grand Poopah.
Good afternoon, my friend. How you feeling?
Well, yeah, all right. I can just say racking, no good weather out there.
Oh, it's rotten, isn't it? I just looked out the window before I came into the studio here. I took a little walk around, and I don't think Rosie and I are going for a walk today.
Well, there's a break in the afternoon, so you should be all right to get out for at least, the couple 2-3 hour span this afternoon. You should be able to get out before it starts up again.
All right, fingers crossed. I'm going to do it then.
Yeah, but I just want to thank you for those kind words this morning. That flipped me right out when I heard it. I was just getting ready to sit down and listen to your show, and what you said was just made me feel good. So just wanted to let you know about that. And I just hope Canada can pull this one out. And good luck tonight with the Rangers. Go Rangers, go.
All right, Paul. We love having you as part of the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers, buddy. Good to hear from you today. I got faith in this Canadian team. I really do. So I'm hanging in there. I was a little worried about our women yesterday. When they got that lead, I just felt like we were holding on. And, of course, you can only hold on so long. And for the women yesterday, 2 minutes left in the game, heartbreaker. What a gutsy performance, though. Gutsy. And silver is still a very nice color. Team Canada still with a shot at gold, trailing 2-1, 36 seconds to go in the second period versus Finland. Grumpy Phil, another good friend of the program. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm feeling, how do I say it? I'm going to stick with the hockey theme.
Sure.
Do you remember that Canadian Tire commercial way back with Albert?
Absolutely, I do.
Well, apparently you were you needed somebody to fill in today on the show, and you went with Yvonne Fernandez. I feel like Albert. I'm left out.
Phil, hang on. I just emailed you back. You are a member of one of our regular teams on the show. When it was your turn last time, you couldn't be there, so you have to wait for your next time.
Well, last time I had a sprained ankle. I couldn't jump the bench. Today I was ready to jump off the bench, drop the gloves, do whatever the team needed, and Albert just sat on the end of the bench.
Albert, Yvonne, we find all kinds of great substitutes, don't we?
Oh, but Yvonne is fantastic. She's a great person to talk to. Anybody who knows Yvonne knows what a great person and what an informed person she is. And one of the topics you dealt with about snow removal, and I know I've said this before on your show, but can we just get together and come up with one plan for snow removal every year? It's like, you hit the nail the wrong way, we'll hit it harder. That's not working. We really need a single-tier plan for snow removal. Let's not move snow from sidewalks to bike paths to the road, back to the bike lane, back to the path. Can we just come up with a plan, a one-pass wonder like farmers use and contractors use? Like, you don't have people coming out ripping out the other person's work to do your work, and the plumbers rip their work out, and then the drywallers rip their work out. Can we just get together and do one plan? One plan every, the snow hits 3 o'clock in the morning. We plow it, we windrow it, throw it in the dump trucks, and it's gone. Like, why do we keep moving it 5 and 6 times all week? Anyways, that's my off the bench, contribution to the team today.
All right, Phil, good to hear from you. Thank you. And I will concur with Phil's point that what we have been doing hasn't necessarily been working all that well. And again, I'm just going to come back to this being one of the core services that we expect cities to deliver. I know there are a lot of people working hard. I think what we might need is more people and more equipment to do the job effectively and efficiently. Because guess what's going to happen next year? Winter's going to come back. You can guarantee it. John is next on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, John.
Hello, Lord Farwell. How are you doing?
Judge John, I am well, thank you. And you?
Oh, pretty good. I can't complain, even though it was raining cats and dogs a couple minutes ago. But that's Canada. You can always find some kind of weather to complain about if you're just patient.
You are absolutely right about that.
Anyway, I want to give a shout-out to a great Canadian hero in my estimation, who once again has proved themselves to be a doom to the naysayers and a hero of prognostication, that being Wyerton Willie, who called for an early spring, and here we are. So how do you like that, Mr. Farwell?
I think you better bite your tongue, knock on some wood, throw some salt over your shoulder, do something, John, because it ain't over yet.
Oh, yes, it is. It's a petering out. Old man Winter is scratching with his claws to hang on, but I can see him sliding slowly away.
All right, John. Appreciate the call today. Thank you. I will admit that I allowed that thought to enter my mind, particularly earlier this week when it was going to be a doomsday type freezing rain event that turned out to be pretty much anything but. It was bad enough, but it certainly wasn't the catastrophic kind of event it felt to me as though we were being warned about. And I wondered, to John's point, if it isn't because the slightly milder air is starting to gain a little more traction against that colder air. And then here we are today, even after that little freezing rain event earlier this week, and we're going up to 5 above. And okay, but it's going to get cold again on the weekend, down into the minus double digits. We're going to get more snow and likely some more ice along the way. But I am beginning to doubt our abilities to set that new record for snowfall. We need about another 50 centimeters before the end of the winter to establish a new record for the region. And I don't know, it's the 20th of February today. I'm just not sure if we're going to get all the snow to get us to that record. We'll see. But I like your optimism, John. And if you want to credit the groundhog, you go right ahead. It is Free Phones Friday, our last hour together of the week. Open phone lines, giving you the chance to start the conversation on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
This is a throwdown, a showdown. Hell no, I can't slow down. It's gonna go.
First offense.
All the mix.
Okay, party people in the house.
May I have your attention, please?
In a moment, the beat will be played in many parts. Many parts. Very.
1, 2, 3. This jam is amplified, so just glide and let your backbone slide.
That right there is one of the OGs, isn't it? Some Maestro Fresh West and Let Your Backbone Slide. It's an all-request Friday celebrating Black Canadian artists because we're all on Team Canada with the Olympics upon us, right? And heading into the final weekend of those Olympics. Rory wanted to hear some Maestro Fresh West, and that's how it works on All Request Friday. Your request is our command. Real quick, I added earlier today a new member, official member of our force for good, our force for change, our force to be reckoned with. That would be Farwell's force. Durham John called in and said he wanted to be added. So he's number 325 as we continue to grow this force for good. And I had told him how much I enjoy it. Not the region. Not really a big fan of Durham region, east of Toronto, but the town, absolutely. And I had said Wellington County. I was mistaken. I looked it up afterwards because I did doubt myself. I know I'm through Wellington County on my way to Durham when I'm out on the bike, but that's in beautiful Grey County, right next to Bruce, which is one of my favorite counties of all. I'm not trying to play favorites here, but I got places I like in this world, and they're not too far from home. Anyway, Durham John, welcome aboard Farwell's Force. And if you listen for 15 minutes every day, any 15 minutes, it can be this 15 minutes or any other 15 minutes every day, we are more than happy to assign you an official Farwell's Force number. And you can be a part of this growing force for good. Just drop me an email to Mike at 570news.com. Nate is Farwell's Force member number 8. I'm always going to remember that because they rhyme. Afternoon, Nate.
That's how come I don't forget them either.
Attaboy.
So I got 3 things for you. I went to Hamilton on Wednesday night during the ice storm for a wonderful concert and dinner. On the way home, it was just water on the roads on the way home. Hamilton was great. Hespeler was great. And the way I came home from my friend's place in Hespeler, I take Maple Grove. So I go down Maple Grove, go to Sportsworld, turn on Old King, hit the Freeport Bridge. What happens after I cross the Freeport Bridge? Ice everywhere. River Road, ice everywhere. So I agree with you with this amalgamation business because that truck that does the Cambridge route would probably go right over that bridge and take care of Old King. So let's get that going. Okay, number 2 is the Grand Poobah stuff, Mike. I just want to know if your loyal Order of Water Buffalo would include women.
Absolutely it would.
Okay. It's kind of risky business. You know the Flintstones. It was a men's club.
That's fine. That was the Flintstones. That was the Stone Ages, pal. I'm right here in 2026.
Perfect. Okay, and last one, and I don't want to give Dev in trouble. I know he might have oopsed up with the Drake.
Okay, let's just not even go there. Let's not even go there. It's already been dealt with. It's already been dealt with. Don't go any further.
With the Prince?
Don't go any further.
Okay, I just wanted to know how he mixed that up.
Sorry, the Prince song?
Yeah.
I should get Devin on to explain that. What was it, the Roma Orchestra?
The Roma Symphony Orchestra for some reason instead of Prince.
I don't know. Dev, he's in his own little world over there. He's a good guy. He's a really good guy, but he's got a world. It's Devin's world. We're just living in it.
Mike, it just sent me down a rabbit hole, and I was just trying to figure it all out, and I had to use the power of AI to figure it out. So,
what show did you see in Hamilton on Wednesday?
9 Inch Nails.
Nice, very good.
That was my 11th show.
Okay.
And brilliant performance as usual.
Of course.
So it's a wonderful thing. Had a great dinner. I've never had such a good meal in, probably about 40 years.
Glad to hear it.
beautiful steakhouse. Anyway, Dev, I love you. Not trying to bust your cojones or anything. So
you could never bust them more than I do, Nate, and we do it because we love Dev as much as we do. I'm glad Nate is right there on the whole Grand Poobah thing and the Loyal Order of Water Buffaloes, because it is a Flintstones reference. But if you're not up to speed on it, I have promised there is one way and one way only I will ever run for political office, and that is if they create the position of Grand Poobah in the newly amalgamated region of Waterloo. So take that for what it's worth. But if we ever bring all of our 3 cities and 4 townships together, as I stretch my arms out and wrap you all in a big hug, I love you. I want you under one Waterloo banner, please. And I will be the Grand Poobah of that amalgamated community. But only if the position is literally Grand Poobah. And, of course, women will be welcome in our Loyal Order of Water Buffalo. Well done by you, Nate. How about Kyle next? Farwell's Force member number 6, which is not as high a member of as somebody named Ashley. She's 5.5, but anyway.
That actually, I tell you, she's already sent me a message. She's like, I like Michael already. So,
welcome to the show, number 6.
I got, I don't know if you want me to say it on air or whatever, but we lost this will be our last year for having a couple of boys that you know doing our play-by-play up in Wingham there. Is it okay if I say the name? Or
absolutely. Give Drury a shout out and give my buddy Steve a shout out too. Stevie Sabrin, good guy up there.
Yeah, no, this is our last year. They're doing the play-by-play for both the Junior B and the Provincial Junior. I guess Steve is hanging it up after 20 years, I guess, of doing play-by-play. And
20 years? Hang on a second. I'm getting into who does it only for 20 years? He's getting soft on me up there in Wingham, eh? I'm going to give him a call.
Yeah, no, it's a big loss, as you know. AM radio, I listen to it all the time, listening to this show, and sometimes if I'm not going to be able to make it to a game or whatever, I'm busy at work, I click on 920 and listen to them, and it's a big loss for the hockey community, but just want to say thank you to those guys, and they do such a wonderful job, and they're finishing up the season with us this year. Hopefully we could just make the playoffs if we can, but I just wanted to give a shout out to them and thank you for all that they've done, not just for the Listowel Cyclones, but for all levels of hockey, because they've done such a wonderful job, and we're going to miss them. So thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate it, buddy.
All right, Kyle, appreciate that call. Happy to sing the praises of, first of all, Drury, who's just a stone-cold beauty, and Steve Sabrin I've known for a long time in this business. I guess at least 20 years, because that's how long he's been doing the games for the Cyclones with a station out of Wingham. I've known a lot of people that have either come through or still work at that station, and some real fine folks, some real fine broadcasters, Sabrin among them. And I only kid when I say, what do you mean only 20 years? I mean, Don Cameron only did it for 55. There's the standard. But anyway, great job by you, Steve, and I'm sure your work will continue just in a different capacity. I have to get up there for a beer in the summertime. I only go to Wingham in the summer. I ain't going up there this time of year. Are you kidding me? Anyway, Andre, you're next on Free Phones Friday.
Game day, baby.
Game day, baby.
So, yeah, I got a couple things. I'll be fast. The last song, it was pretty good. It's,
some Maestro Fresh West?
Yeah. I hope that they hold that in mind at the roller skate roller rink.
The retro rollers?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might be good. I might go in there this weekend, and that made me pumped up.
Are you gonna roller skate?
Yeah.
Andre, how do you do that? Because you've told us, like, does somebody?
With my cane.
Okay, you take your cane with you. So, but you're not like. How much can you see?
5%.
Okay. Take one of your kids with you. Make sure they hold your hand.
No. They throw me off.
Okay.
So another thing is, so that was one. Another one is I really like the segment because we've been talking for a long time, years ago, about the bus terminal. I know one time we had on the round table, Phil and Phil. I know one of the Phils said we should have like a square park, like New York there, a big park. But now you're talking about Charles, and that's a big stretch. So I'm very, very, very curious of what they're going to do with it. So, I can't wait for tonight. I'm going to have a nap, Mike. Sorry. But I got to get ready for for Z for later.
Okay, Andre, thank you. I like how Andre gets to take an afternoon nap just so he can be ready to listen to Kitchener Rangers hockey on 570 News Radio tonight. Where's my nap, Andre? I'm going to get ready. Do the best damn job that I can tonight, starting at 6:30 with the Harris Law pregame show. Josh Piercy and I will be on. Hey, it's Friday. That means Piercy will have his Friday headlines, some great information from around the Ontario Hockey League during our first intermission. And if you were wondering what Andre was referring to when it comes to Charles Street, the old bus terminal, as we mentioned on the show yesterday, just as we were ending the show, we came across the little news item that the region is declaring that land where the old bus terminal sits surplus. And I think that opens up a whole world of possibilities. I shared some ideas earlier today. I'll fill you in case you missed it earlier coming up, because I think there's a real opportunity for something bold and visionary on Charles Street. We'll talk about it next as we continue Free Phones Friday. Your calls welcome on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Love the life you live and live the life you love. 'Cause after life, there's death. Raga death. One life to live, the better love it, you're gonna leave it. You must swing your life to have to strive to survive. Keep your heart clean, take your time, no other. 'Cause anyway you got to know the goodness must follow. One life to live, the better love it, you're gonna leave it. You must swing your life to have to strive to survive. Keep your heart clean, take your time, no other. 'Cause anyway you got to know the goodness must follow. Here's a story of your life without climaxes while I have this, but I keep this straight and focused 'cause I know this never like this. You were born, but clinging on to people and the stigmas in the eye of nothing, holding on to something in it.
It is a song called One Life by Ragadeth featuring Misha Me. It's for Nate, number 8 on this All Request Friday celebrating Black Canadian artists. Go Canada Go, hence the Canadian theme, even though it's not Canada Day. It's the Olympics. Team Canada still trailing 2-1. Early third versus Finland in a men's hockey semifinal. Lots of hockey still to play. And we celebrate Black artists because it is Black History Month. Every Friday, we finish out our time together for the week by opening the phone lines so we can hear directly from you during Free Phones Friday. And Mark is next. Good afternoon, Mark.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
It's game day, baby.
Game day, baby.
Should be a good one tonight, Mike.
Should be a great one tonight. You know, we beat Windsor twice already. I know they want to show that they can play with the big boys, and we are the big boys. So it's going to be a good one. Yes, sir.
You know it, Mike. Listen, I really enjoyed that interview with UC today. He's got a good sense of humor.
He's
Mike.
got you know what? You don't get to hear it enough. He really does. He has a great sense of humor.
Absolutely. And plus, I wish I had his hair, Mike.
You're talking to me about that, Mark. Come on.
Mike,
yes.
Get yourself a wig and slick it back.
Okay. Maybe. I'll think about that.
Think about it, Mike.
Okay, I will.
Okay, Mike, have a good one.
Thanks, Mark. You too. The head coach of the Kitchener Rangers, if you didn't know, joins us every Friday morning, 10:30, for the Coaches Show. It's something that we do all through the Rangers season because right here, this radio station, well, this is your official home for Kitchener Rangers hockey. It's as simple as that. So the Coaches Show is part of the coverage that we bring you on game days, Fridays, because Fridays are hockey nights in Kitchener, getting you set for the game. And a couple of things, as I'm sure you know, the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers is Finnish. So I asked him at the end of our conversation today, is there any point in even asking you who you think is going to win the game between Canada and Finland today? He said, no, there's only one choice, obviously. And so far, it's UC Ahokus's Finns leading our Canadians 2-1. And the other part of the interview that I thought was quite amusing is I read in Josh Brown's article in the Waterloo Region Record today that when the Ranger players gathered for their annual team photo out at center ice, they did that earlier this week. I think yesterday was the day. Regardless, when they did that, the players all came out for the photo with their hair slicked back in the best UC Ahokus fashion that they could, because UC Ahokus is quite well known for that style of his hair. So I asked him, I said, we know that you wear it best, UC, but did any player even come close to wearing the hairstyle as well as you do? And UC said, I just think we had a bunch of handsome young men in that picture today. So there you go. A little bit of humor from the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers, who is a very serious person by and large. And don't get on the wrong side of him in the middle of a game, if there's a bad call or something like that. I've seen him get quite angry, but he's got a good sense of humor. I just want to go back to something that Andre brought up just before the news, and I promised I would share some ideas, because I really think, and I hope you'll think about the opportunity here. And we can certainly, disagree, because nothing that I say is going to come inexpensively. That is for sure. And it might not be your preferred use for the existing land, but I think there's a conversation to be had. And from where I'm sitting, I think there's an opportunity for our community broadly. This is in the city of Kitchener, but I think the entire region of 700,000 people can certainly benefit from this. So what I'm talking about, and what Andre raised just before the 12:30 news, is the fact that the region is going to declare, once the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed sometime in mid-March, the site of the former bus terminal on Charles Street is going to be surplus land. And when I first heard that news yesterday, I was really intrigued, because what we have seen recently with surplus municipal land is that, in large part, it's been turned over to builders, Habitat for Humanity being one of them, to create affordable, attainable housing, right? Think of Waterloo by Rim Park, where the city of Waterloo declared a big chunk of land surplus. Think of the city of Kitchener, Wellington, and Lancaster has been declared surplus. I'm not sure they've got a partner in that yet. Forgive me, I'm just going off the top of my head. But certainly Ottawa and River in Kitchener, surplus land right in behind that fire hall on Ottawa Street at River. That's going to be for some affordable housing. And that's what I thought the surplus land designation for the old bus terminal would trigger. But doing what I do, being the curious cat that I am, I asked a few more questions yesterday, and it turns out what happens when the land is declared surplus is essentially anything. What this could be, and what I think it likely is on the part of the region, is a signal that, hey, we're looking for partners, we're looking for interested parties that might want to develop this land in a different way. So I suspect that in about a month's time, when this is all official and the land is declared surplus, there will be requests for proposal put out, and we'll be looking at ideas for the former bus terminal. And then I got thinking in the bigger picture, because if you think of where the bus terminal is, right? It's on the block of Charles between Ontario Street and Gaukel Street. So if we start at Ontario Street on Charles and we come through the area that is the bus terminal, then we get to Gaukel, what's next to it? It's the old post office, right? Does that post office do anything for our downtown, really? Could something replace that post office? Probably, in my opinion. Then you go past the post office, there's a little parking lot there. And then next to that, there's a big parking lot, which is attached to the former King Center shopping mall, right? So a parking garage, really. It's a structure. And I could see that being kept and being made useful for whatever gets built at the bus terminal. And then if you stay with me here along Charles Street, so we started at Ontario, we're working our way down towards Victoria. You go past that parking garage, and on the other side of that parking garage is Water Street. And you cross Water Street, and what do you get? Big old parking lot, surface parking lot, nothing there. And all of a sudden, you're at Charles and Francis. And then you get into the tannery, which I think is a terrific example of an adaptive reuse of an old tannery in Kitchener. I think it's a great building, full of great things, great ideas coming out of there. So that should stay right where it is. But think of everything that exists from Charles and Francis to Charles and Ontario, and what we could do with that amount of space in the heart of downtown Kitchener. does that open up the possibility for the new arena/entertainment center? Does it open up the possibility of a convention center that has long been asked for in this community, that will attract the kinds of things that we have not been able to attract in terms of big conferences, events, trade shows, etc.? The arena/entertainment center has been talked about for 15 years now. Well, we have to upgrade and expand the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. We need something bigger than what we have, as beautiful as it is. If you want to compete with other markets, we're talking about a community that in 25 years will be 1 million people strong. Is it a serious community, or is it a community that doesn't really have those kinds of amenities? You're talking about a huge parcel of land, even the bus terminal area itself. But if you take it as far as I just took it in my mind's eye, and you think bigger and you think bolder, you're sitting right on the LRT line. Essentially, if you get down to Charles and Francis Street, you're a stone's throw from this new central transit hub that we're talking about at King and Victoria, which would bring people in from out of town, get off your transit there, walk into this downtown that's got what? It's got a convention center. Does it have an arena? Maybe it's a big arts venue. I just think there are all kinds of opportunities there that we would be foolish to ignore. I think we have to dream big. And I think the declaration of this land at the bus terminal, the old bus terminal, as surplus is our opportunity to dream big and envision exactly the kinds of things we want/need in our community of the future. Just some thoughts from me. Again, this is in my mind. I don't have the money for it, but I'll bet you we could find the right partners. A thought starter from here. By the way, Canada just tied the score. It's 2-2, baby. 9:26 to play in the third. Free Phones Friday continues on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
That's when you used to know. Many dreams since then you've had them come and gone. The time might show. But stress, don't you let it. Don't you forget it. Trust you'll find your sweet love. Hope is what your heart is made of.
It's a little bit of Glenn Lewis and Don't You Forget It. By request from Mike on this All Request Friday. Celebrating Black Canadian artists. Go Canada, go. It's a tie hockey match. We were down 2-0. It's now 2-2 with just under 8 minutes to play. A quick aside, just hearing that Glenn Lewis tune reminds me of the days I used to drive around. I was a geek, right? I loved me some radio. And I'd go out at night because you could get AM radio stations from like Cleveland and Chicago. I would always just be scanning the dial. I would literally drive around this town to tune in radio stations. And I found WBLK out of Buffalo. And I will not tell a lie. I used to tune into it and thoroughly enjoyed those smooth sounds. We didn't hear Glenn Lewis, not a lot of CanCon on a Buffalo station, but WBLK, baby. Pretty good stuff. Dieter is next on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, Dieter.
Good afternoon. You were talking about a convention center?
It was.
Well, the King Center, which I used to manage, is now empty.
I know.
It's 400,000 square feet. And where the old offices were for the convention, for King Center, it was originally designed for a tower above it.
Really? I did not know that.
There's even the base of the elevator shafts already in that section. That parking lot that is empty beside it is owned by the same company that owns the King Center now, which is Manulife.
Right. I knew Manulife still owned because they had offices in there, but now they've moved everybody up to Waterloo.
Yeah. So if the city wants a convention center, they should probably talk to Manulife about an unused building and the potential for it, and partner with a developer who wants to put a tower on there, so you can put a residential tower above a portion of it, generate some income to support the convention center, and start from there. The rest of the parcels, yeah, you could probably put a complex on there with skating rinks or whatever, but that building easily suits a convention center. Ceilings are high enough space on each of the floors. Parking is already there. So that would be my suggestion to a developer who wants to do something, and Manulife who may want to generate some income for a building they no longer use, and the city for getting something that they desire.
Dieter, I like the way you think. I appreciate the call today.
You take care and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. You as well. I wonder two things here. I mean, maybe Manulife would like to divest itself of that real estate holding. I don't know. One of the other things I was considering when I was tracing this huge parcel of land in my own mind is that parking garage that exists. Maybe Manulife hangs on to that and generates revenue from it because we use it as a parking garage for whatever else is going on down on that huge block. But, you know, Dieter's got me thinking now, too. I mean, if you're talking about King Center, can we talk about Market Square? The hell's going on in Market Square right now? Absolutely nothing. So I think we have to dream big. Well, I don't know. I don't think we just have to dream big. I think we have to think big because we ain't no little horse and buggy town no more. No disrespect, Wellesley. I love you out there. You can keep your horse and buggy, but we have to start thinking, I think, differently in the cores of our communities. Grant is with us on free phones. Good afternoon, Grant.
Yeah, good afternoon. And Matthew Andonovsky mentioned this numerous times in his interview. I can't remember where he came back from, but
he came back from the Belleville Senators, Grant.
So like I said, he mentioned that they taught him some different things. He never really elaborated. So what I'm thinking, that they told him that, you know what, we've been watching you playing, and you've been getting these ridiculous penalties. You need to.
That's not what they told him.
Okay, well, I think they might have. And,
okay.
And I think he's been watching how Sam O'Reilly's been playing, or Sam O'Reilly's been telling him. Maybe Matthew's been watching how. Oh, you know what, Sam O'Reilly's not in the penalty box that much.
You know what, Grant? Listen, I love your fascination with Matt Andonovsky. I really do, and I get it. I get that the concern, and listen, I don't think Matt Andonovsky has been taking a lot of penalties, but if you're going to be a defenseman like Matt Andonovsky, you got to play the game with some snot. I'm sorry, but you do. And I got no issue with it. However, he has been a very good citizen in terms of staying out of the penalty box. But let me tell you what Matt Andonovsky learned from the professional ranks. He learned how to take care of himself physically. He learned how to feed himself so that he's putting fuel in his body for the games. He learned how to play as a professional. He is light years more mature than he was a year ago. And that's not a knock on who he was a year ago. You can just, the maturity oozes out of this young man now when you're around him. That's what he brought back from the pros. Mary, you're going to get the last word on Free Phones Friday.
Oh, goody. Mike, I think you're right that Ontario ad or whatever it is AI.
AI. Mary, yeah. I think I still have, hang on, let me see if I can find it, because I was listening to it again too. Just give a listen here.
Ontario is getting you where you need to be faster by building the new Highway 7 between Kitchener and Guelph.
Guelph. That's, come on. That is, listen, one more time.
By building the new Highway 7 between Kitchener and Guelph.
Guelph. That's a computer, Mary.
I know.
Okay.
I know, and I've heard it before, and I agree with you.
Thank you.
And hey, guess what?
What?
Could you put $1 million on when the thing to Guelph is going to take place?
No. Well, only if I get to bet on never.
Anyway.
Mary, we're running out of time now. I got 30 seconds left.
Okay. Take a nap. Like myself and Andre are doing.
I got no time for naps. No,
yes,
I got no time for naps. No. I'll sleep. I'm going to sleep when I'm dead, Mary. Okay, that's it. Mary's done. You nap, I'll work. That's how this relationship works, okay? And by the way, this is a computer.
By building the new Highway 7 between Kitchener and Guelph.
I'm not wrong, am I? I don't mean to disrespect the gentleman who voiced that commercial, if indeed it's a gentleman, but I think that is computer-generated audio. That's just my 2 cents. I'm going to be back tonight. I will not take a nap, and I'll be ready for the pregame show brought to you by Harris Law at 6:30. Josh Piercy and I bringing you all of your Rangers action right through Rangers talk after the game. It's the Rangers and the Spits tonight. Until then, my name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.